main and co-main events. And I'll start with what I've just said a moment or two ago. When you look at the British domestic scene, do you look at light heavyweight of the divisions?
Well, it's in competition with the heavyweights, isn't it? And we'll get into that a little later, with 6 of the top 12 coming from the UK at the moment. There's a lot of competition there after Fabio Wardley's outstanding performance last weekend in London, Adam. But you're right, the 175-pound division has been strong for a while, and it's getting stronger. Ben Whittaker's on the rise. Callum Simpson's probably going to step up to that division at some point. But what we're going to learn tonight, I think, with Lyndon Arthur and the young Brad Ray, who's come up from middleweight, obviously a protege of Ricky Hatton, who we must mention, like you say, the Blues versus the Reds tonight. But I think with Joshua Buatsi, we're going to
him psychologically, or will he kick on? Will it be the springboard for him? And Zach Parker, what an opportunity here to get himself back up in the mix after that loss to John Ryder back in 2022. He's had 4 wins since then, a slow rebuild, and he feels now this is the time, and he goes in against his old foe in Joshua Buatsi.
As Gareth said a month or two ago, we've got a deep division here. I know that we're deep, obviously, at heavyweight, but I think heavyweight is probably at a higher level with the depth. Right now, obviously, we've mentioned Callum Smith, we've mentioned Anthony Yarde, but tonight, even in attendance, we've got Willie Hutchinson here, who's also in that top 10 with the Ring magazine. Ben Whittaker is a name that's always going to get floated around, still yet to obviously prove himself at the top table. Craig Richards, Edward Taylor, Zach Parker in action this evening, as is Lyndon Arthur and Brad Ray. And then you've probably got Smith and Yarde, and somewhere in the middle of that, Josh Buatsi. So we're deep, we're busy when it comes to British and domestic fighters in the light heavyweight division. A lot of them are in action this evening. And in the ring right now, we've got Liam Cameron, a man that we're all familiar with, taking on Troy Jones. And if I could just hang over to our chief commentator, John Rowland, there was a little bit of an incident at the end of that round there, John, and if you could assess that for us, and then just give us a little bit of a take on how this fight is currently playing out, mate.
Well, there was a low blow came in from Troy Jones, and the referee had a bit of a word with him, and Liam Cameron, well, badly hurt he was by it, I'm not too sure. It's a tight fight, this. There's not a lot between them, and both men looking for every little bit of advantage they can get. We're into the 7th round. I've got Troy Jones 4 rounds to 2 ahead, but several of those rounds have been very close, and it may well be that Liam Cameron, the older man, he's 35 against Troy Jones, who comes from Birmingham. He's 27. Cameron's best days, some thought, might be behind him, but he's a tough man, and he's trying to carry the fight to Jones, and there's a low blow this time from Cameron has gone in, and referee Marcus McDonnell is giving the pair of them a stern word here and saying, come on lads, let's just stick to the boxing. It's tight though, we'll see how it unfolds.
They're in the 7th, John will keep across that, and obviously any major developments you'll hear it here on talkSPORT 2 and the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. One thing that I always think about with Liam Cameron, as John was just kind of alluding to there about his best work being in previous years, previous weights as well. He's obviously up at a higher weight here. He had a long period of time out, didn't he, Spence? And I thought that lower down the weight categories is when he did his best work. For me, I don't think he's, when I look at some of these light heavies, he doesn't look like a full light heavy to me.
Yeah, I get that, but you know, I saw him at the weigh-in yesterday and he looked like he'd stripped down, he'd had to work to make that weight, so I think he had outgrown that middleweight division. You look at his last 3 fights, you know, he's got a draw with Ben Whittaker, that controversial draw, then he lost to Ben Whittaker and also lost to Lyndon Arthur on a split decision as well. They were all, you know, they were all decent contests, and you go, it's a must-win fight here for Cameron, because at 35 years of age, you say, what's he got left? Where does he go if he doesn't get a victory here? So he has to get it, he has to grind it out, and it is a tough fight, as John Rawling has pointed out here, and he's trying to grind it out. He's actually getting himself back into it here in the 7th round.
When I talk light heavies, Gareth, and I mention all these British and domestic names, you rightfully said Callum Smith is the man probably ahead of everybody else with Anthony Ord, maybe just a touch behind him, who's got a world title fight, by the way, coming up with David Benavidez in a couple of weeks' time, hasn't he? And we're anticipating Callum Smith to be fighting in the new year against someone like a David Morrell, which then propels him towards the 2 rushes that you mentioned momentarily ago. Out of the chasing pack, who do you think will be the one really to make that noise in 2026, to start to stick their hand up to say, listen, I am worthy now of challenging at the top table?
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, Willie Hutchinson gave Joshua Buatsi a very good fight and was down twice in that fight, but came on strong at the end, which is one of the reasons why, when you look back at the fight with Callum Smith, as Spencer mentioned, how much did it take out of Buatsi? Obviously, you're not asking me to refer to him because he belongs in that big group, really, but I don't know, I think Ben Whittaker and Callum Simpson, for me, are the 2 guys coming through. You
think he'll come from super? I mean, he's obviously at super middle at the moment, isn't he, Callum Simpson?
But he's huge as well, and he wants the fight with Ben Whittaker. It's the fight he's chasing. Whittaker's the guy that stands out, because he's got the panache, he's got the flash, he's got the razzmatazz and the moves.
There's still stuff to prove, though, with Ben Whittaker, isn't there?
Well, he's got to prove some power. I like the fact he's working with Andy Lee, the Irishman, the former middleweight world champion, who's very good with fighters at just making slight alterations. It didn't work for Joseph Parker last weekend, and we can get into that at some point about the heavyweights division, which I know you want to talk about.
Yeah.
But for me, if you're going to pick one rising star outside Yard, Benavidez and Smith, it's got to be Ben Whittaker.
Well, obviously now he's teamed up with Eddie Hearn, he's at Matchroom now, and the promotional bandwagon will be right behind him, pushing him forward, so the opportunities are going to be there. There's 2 that I kind of want to talk about a little bit more. One of them's actually fighting this evening, who I don't think has been given the right opportunities. I think, obviously, coming off the back of the loss to Tyler Denny in the weight division below, I think he's had to rebuild himself, and really the harshness of boxing has kind of been shining on the career of Brad Ray, hasn't it? Tonight he's got a massive opportunity. We know what Lyndon Arthur's all about. Sometimes it can be great, sometimes it can be not so great. If you look at his losses, Anthony Ord and Dimitri Bivol, they're the only people that have beaten him, Spencer. Tonight for Brad Ray, I think there's a real opportunity to punch his ticket forward, because he's the European champion. He did it on quite late notice against Shakan Pitters, and if he can get a job on tonight, you never know, he might be in the mix for a big fight next year.
Adam, yep, they call it a coming-of-age fight, and I think that's exactly what it is here for young Brad Ray. You know, he's had his experiences, that loss to Tyler Denny, he had to go away, rediscover himself in many ways. The comeback fight he had after that, he was actually up at 200 pounds, believe it or not. You know, so he was all over the place. He's now found himself at light heavyweight, had a great win against Shakan Pitters last time out to pick the European title up. But this is the coming-of-age fight, because he's in with a well-schooled, tough guy, you know, who's proven at that level. Yeah, he has his hot nights and his, you know, not so hot nights, Lyndon Arthur, but he's a tough man to beat.
I remember meeting Brad Ray in Ricky Hatton's gym in Hyde, and I couldn't believe he was a middleweight back 3-4 years ago. He's 6'3".
Now he's a proper light heavy.
And he's a proper light heavy. He struggled that defeat to Tyler Denny in a very good fight. Was back and forth, and I think coming up to super middle, then to 175. He's 27 now. Lyndon's 35. He needs to use all those youthful factors tonight and not allow Lyndon, who I've got as the marginal favourite in this, because he's been in, as you say, with bigger and better opposition, not to let Lyndon settle and get that fantastic jab of his going. And Brad's got to disturb him early on. As I say, he's been very ambitious in life. He comes from a boxing family. The Shakan Pitters victory was phenomenal and slightly unexpected. Boxed brilliantly that night. This is a big, big crossover moment for him as well. Yeah, absolutely. And we mustn't forget the likes of Ezra Taylor's in this division as well, who looks like a really good prospect coming through. Very good point. Louis Edmondson is obviously the main man when it comes to British and Commonwealth titles. So we've got a lot of talent. It's just getting them matched. I know that we've obviously just missed out on the Edmondson and Ezra Taylor fight. That's now hopefully going to be rescheduled for 2026. But by putting these guys together against each other, Spence, we hopefully then get them rising through the pack.
Absolutely, it's a fantastic weight division right now. You know, like your Smith, your Yard, Buatsi, Parker, Dan Aziz, Craig Richards, Lyndon Arthur, Willie Hutchinson, Brad Ray. The names just keep coming. Ben Whittaker, Carol Etoma, Louis Edmondson. They're just stacked with names there, and it's a chance, you know, when you've got other dance partners, it's a chance for these younger fighters like Ben Whittaker, like Ezra Taylor, who's not really been mentioned too much, but he's a great fighter. You know, he's with Malik Scott now, he's regrouped, reset up camp over in America, he took himself over there, shows you the passion and desire he's got. Great young fighter he is. So the light heavyweight division at the moment, yeah, there's fighters that have been around a long time, Lyndon Arthur being one of them guys, but the new crop coming through is very competitive.
Can I just add with Anthony Yard as well?
Yep.
What I like about him is I think he's been willing. He went to Russia to fight Sergei Kovalev when Kovalev was still strong. He had that amazing fight that we all covered with Artur Beterbiev in London a couple of years ago. A brilliantly exciting fight. What I like about him is he's got the style that delivers, and he doesn't sit out and go, no, I'm price himself out of fights, which I think hasn't done against David Benavidez. I think he's in a really, really tough fight on November the 22nd in Saudi. But the fight we'd all like to see coming off this and into next year is Buatsi against Yard at some point. It's a London blockbuster, that fight, for me.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And obviously Callum Smith's in this mix. I know that Callum Smith's obviously had a dance with Josh Buatsi in the past. But if Anthony Yard's in a wonderful position because he's fighting for a world title next. Yeah, and
third time. But I understand that Callum Smith didn't want to fight David Benavidez because the money wasn't right for him. And I get that, because he was the #1 super middleweight. He's had a very decorated career. And I will argue, even though Buatsi lost that fight to him in February, Buatsi stopped Rose in a way that night because it was one of his best performances. And I think it's the best I've ever seen Callum Smith.
We're in a good position in the light heavyweight division, just like we're in a good position with the heavyweights. Obviously, I want to bring it back to light heavy very, very shortly, but we can't do these types of shows without talking about how deep we are in the heavyweight division. I've been away for a week, boys, obviously on the old UFC trail. Massive weekend last weekend for a British heavyweight who did incredibly well in Fabio Wardley. What he's now doing, I think, is truly sensational. With zero amateur experience, or next to zero amateur experience, to now be on the verge of eating at the top table is truly remarkable. What is your hearings on the latest with this December the 13th card? Because we were told that maybe it's Moses, then we're told that Moses isn't going to be fighting on that card. Certain fights that got ordered by the WBA, for example, with Kubrat Pulev, he's now been granted an exemption in order to fight Murat Gassiev, so he's going to have to wait for his opportunity with the WBA. This is Moses Atama I'm talking about. And now we're hearing Derek Chisora, is it on, is it off with December the 13th? Is it Dillian White, is it not? What is going on, Gareth?
I spoke to Frank Warren yesterday, and I can update the fact that the Moses Atama fight is off on December the 13th. It was going to be this very arena, of course. He's going to fight in January now. They're going to sit out, and if Gassiev and Pulev, who holds the WBA regular title, goes ahead. Frank Warren tells me he will likely be stripped to that title. Moses will fight for that title against whoever in January. Chisora and White, as you mentioned, that's off as well.
Just on that, the WBA, I think, came out yesterday saying that they might grant an exemption because they'd signed the fight before they ordered the WBA call-in. So he might not be stripped, is what I'm basically saying, and then Moses will be next for the winner. Exactly, and that's possible as well. Derek Chisora and Dillian White, they looked at the 20th of December. That's off now as well. Derek was haunting Manchester till earlier on. I don't know if he's here. He's looking like the Dark Cowboy, wasn't he? With his leathers on and his hat on and his cigar. So that's off. Fabio Wardley and Alexander Usyk, they're looking at the components of a big fight at the moment. Usyk hasn't replied to them yet. There's big news coming out on Monday surrounding Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. I understand those talks are now deep in process. They both are going to have a warm-up fight, but they are going to fight next year, is what I'm hearing. Why are we having warm-up fights? I don't know, because they need one, because they haven't fought for a year, either of them. But what about if they come back, one of them loses, then the big fight's off? Just make the big fight.
Yeah, I think this stage you agree, you have to make the big fight. What's it like, warm-ups? Them days are gone now. That ship has sailed. You know, give the fans what they need and give, you know, for modern-day legacies, just get it on. And I think that's what these guys now need to do.
I agree.
Regarding this heavyweight division, stemming back to last week, you guys were obviously calling the fight live on talkSPORT. What an unbelievable rise Fabio Wardley has given us. I mean, quite unexpected, to be fair.
Yeah, a star was born last Saturday night. He weathered the storm. He rescued, again, victory from the jaws of defeat against Parker. An 11th round stoppage. He was 7-3 for me on my card, down against Parker. Fabio Wardley, for me, is now behind Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk as #2 challenger in the heavyweight division.
Would you concur with that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Fabio Wardley's earned those rights. You know, he went in there as a huge underdog against Joseph Parker and he tore up the script. You know, it was a dominant performance and he done the unexpected and stopped Parker the way that he did. I mean, he has to then be placed as #2, you know. I mean, it was a fantastic win and he's put himself up there and showed that, and we talked about this anyway, saying Fabio Wardley, you know, after his last couple of fights, you look at it and go, he's a danger for any heavyweight out there. And now people are talking, you know, when we're talking about Fabio Wardley versus Alexander Usyk, and people are saying, no, it's a mismatch. Well, he feeds off that stuff, and he is the most dangerous heavyweight for Usyk right now.
He's been a mismatch in all of his fights because of the zero amateur pedigree that he's got in order to be able to do what he's doing. I think he's quite remarkable.
But the cat's out of the bag now. We know that he's got resilience, a great chin, great stamina, will and desire, and a deadly punch, and he's got power. The cat's out of the bag.
And the most important thing, the unpredictability. When you're unpredictable, you don't know where them shots are coming from. That's a difficult guy to beat.
Well, I'm sure this is all going to develop in 2026. Fingers crossed, Alexander Usyk's back in action very, very soon. And for me, I know that we don't talk a lot about Agit Kabayel, but Agit Kabayel's also going to be in this conversation as well at some point, hasn't he?
He's going to be fighting early in the new year as well, as his manager
Spencer Brown tells me.
They're going back to Germany. They don't have an opponent announced at the moment, but it needs to be a good one. They're talking about Daniel Dubois, by the way.
Daniel Dubois is the front runner, trust me on that one.
Dubois.
It looks like Daniel Dubois.
For Agit Kabayel, which is a fantastic fight for the heavyweight division. And also on the other side of that, if we're getting Alexander Usyk and Fabio Wardley, I think we could be in for the start of a very, very good year. Just let's not have warm-up fights for the two big boys, the two commercial stars, and just get them in with each other. You're listening to Fight Night Live. We're at the Co-op Arena here in Manchester. Tonight it's about Joshua Buatsi. It's also about Zach Parker in our main event. Right now in front of me, Liam Cameron and Troy Jones are about to wrap up. Just completed the 10th round. John Rollins been right across that for us. How did that play out in your eyes, John?
Tremendous fight, absolutely terrific fight. And they went together toe-to-toe in the last 3 minutes. Both corners believe that they've won. I think maybe that Troy Jones, the man from Birmingham, slightly the taller fighter, maybe the more genuine light heavyweight, I think he's just about done enough, although he's got a nasty cut over his left eye. Liam Cameron looked as though he was well beaten as we went into the second half of the fight, but having started well, he came back well in the closing stages and took rounds in the second half of this 10-rounder, undoubtedly closed the gap. And as he aimed hurtfully at that injured left eye of Troy Jones, he's picked up points and he's certainly picked up rounds, and this one's close. It's going to the judges' scorecard. I can tell you a little bit of background about Troy Jones. He got married in September and he cancelled his honeymoon to have this fight. So you could say that he's under a little bit of pressure to have performed here. Liam Cameron, who's got so much experience, he comes back into the fight, tough man, worked hard in the Steel City gym, trained by Pierce Gudgeon, comes from a real tough part of Sheffield, the Manor Estate, and he knows all about hard fights. Had that draw against Ben Whittaker. Whittaker came back and beat him in the rematch, and he says that he still wants big fights from here. But this turned out to be a genuinely big fight for both men, and I think that Cameron came back well in the closing stages, and it's an anxious wait for both of them as they're brought centre ring now by Marcus McDonnell. I can see Thomas Schreiber, the master of ceremonies, up there. He's got microphone in hand, he's got the scorecard in front of him, and just a moment or two we'll find out who's won what's been a real barn burner of a light heavyweight fight. Let's hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Salvador Salva scores it 97-93, and both judges, Michael Alexander and Grzegorz Molenda, score it the same, 96-94. All for your winner by unanimous decision. And now the WBA Intercontinental Light Heavyweight Champion, Liam Cannonball Cameron.
We'll pick the balls out of that next. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to talkSPORT. We're on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. This is Fight Night Live.
Fight Night Live. Buatsi versus Parker. Live from Manchester.
On talkSPORT 2.
We're in Manchester tonight at the Co-op Arena for Joshua Buatsi versus Zach Parker. We're going to be bringing you the European title fight very, very shortly between Brad Ray and Lyndon Arthur. Blue half of Manchester versus the red half of Manchester. I'm Adam Catterall. Pleasure to be with you here on Fight Night Live. We're on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel if you've just tuned into talkSPORT 2, so you can watch us live in the arena. I'm here, Gareth A. Davis is here, Spencer Oliver and John Rawlings here. Before we move on to the next fight, I just want to get John Rawlings' opinion on this, because he was the man that was across that fight. Every time I looked up, I actually thought that Troy Jones was in the ascendancy of the fight, John, and I know that you alluded to it in the end there. 97-93 in his favour, feels incredibly wide, a 7-3 there, to be fair. Obviously, it's Liam Cameron that gets his hand raised on a unanimous points decision.
Well, 97-93 I find a little bit hard to fathom. Liam started well. He took the opening round, and then in the middle rounds, Troy Jones looked the fitter, the bigger, the stronger. He was landing with the more telling punches. But I think you've got to take your hat off to the experience of Liam Cameron. When he was going against him, they stuck to their game plan, and he boxed well. He opened up a cut over the left eye of Troy Jones, and he certainly finished the better in the closing rounds. And it's there that he probably won the fight, I think. There wasn't a lot between them. It was a tremendous scrap, and the people watching in the crowd, the Birmingham fans who've come up with Troy Jones, and of course the Sheffield fans who've come over the Pennines, they were given a terrific matchup. And fair play to Liam Cameron at the age of 35, as you alluded to. He's a great story, coming back after that ban caused by stupidity of his own through you know, drug abuse, and he's come back. He says he's clean now, he's not drinking, he's obviously not putting anything up his nose, and he is doing well. At the sunset of his career, he's really making the most out of it, and that's an important win for him tonight.
Massive.
Because it keeps him very much in the mixer.
Yeah, absolutely. Massive win for him. He moves on, and I hope that Troy Jones also, after a performance like that, gets another opportunity to shine on one of these television/radio cards. In a minute, we're going to be introducing you to our European title co-main feature, and a man that's snaffled himself one of them European titles. He's alongside me in the shape of Spencer Oliver. Remember them days, Spence?
I do remember
European
them days.
champion, son.
Remember them well, mate. And do you know what? That European title opens up all the opportunities. It puts you in the top 10 of all the governing bodies. And obviously, you know, we're living in times right now where those opportunities are huge. So it's a must-win fight here for both of these guys. You know, you've talked about the incredible story and the rebuild of Brad Ray and Lyndon Arthur. You know, only lost to the very elite, and that is Anthony Yard twice and Dimitri Bivol, and he put up great performances in all those fights. He's a very difficult guy to beat, and you feel at 34 years of age here for Lyndon Arthur, it's a must-win fight. Or where does he go? Where does the appetite come from? Where does the ambition come from? So expect to see something special here, and Brad Ray's not going to want to let that title go easily.
No, and listen, you kind of touched upon it there. Regarding Lyndon Arthur and his motivation, yes, he was once upon a time the Commonwealth champion in this division, but he's never challenged, has he, for the European honours, even though he has gone above that and challenged the Bivols of this world, and maybe people would say that Anthony Yard is above that particular level. He's never won himself the European title, so this is a big incentive for him this evening. And it was Brad Ray getting the call very, very late in the day to take on Shakan Pitters a few months back, and he absolutely snaffled it. And this game can be slippery at times, can't it, Gareth? People who are working hard, doing well, doing all the right things, but they might not have the right management, they might not have the right promoter, they might not be in the right position, they might not know the right people, they don't get the right opportunities. He answered the phone call, and that was the moment for Brad Ray. He's taken it with both hands. This now is a really big moment for him. Name-wise, it's his biggest opponent, I would say, and tonight, if he can get a victory, he will get himself in the mix with the other light heavies.
Yeah, it's a big step up. Like you say, Lyndon Arthur is a name. In spite of losing to Anthony Yard, he's also beaten Anthony Yard, if you recall, during lockdown. He's been in there when we were first in Saudi Arabia. He went 12 rounds with Dimitri Bivol. Very durable, very resilient, very obdurate that night, even though he got battered by Bivol. We didn't know how great Bivol was at the time. He'd obviously beaten Canelo, but he hadn't beaten Beterbiev as he has now. So this is a major name for 27-year-old Brad Ray, whose body has finally turned him into the division he should be in. And I think if he wins tonight, he gets the chance to project himself. The Shakan Pitters victory projected him to a certain extent. This is an opportunity, if he looks very good against Linden, to be compared with Bivol and Yarde. And I mean that in a true sense. How does his shape look? How does he compare? And he needs to start fast and hard. As I said earlier, do not let Linden settle with that ramrod jab.
Well, from a Brad Ray point of view, I know that we've obviously got, I mentioned Ezra Taylor and Lewis Edmondson before, right? And that will hopefully at some point materialise that British and Commonwealth title fight that was scheduled but has just fallen off. If I'm Brad Ray and I beat Lyndon Arthur tonight, I'm after the winner of the main event. Because, with all due respect, the winner of the main event tonight, I don't really think that they are back with the Callum Smiths or back with the Anthony Yardes just yet. Buatsi's got a bit of a name, so he might be able to get in there. But if I'm Brad Ray, I'm shooting for the winner of the main event tonight. That's what I'm going after.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that you've got to look at the winner of Joshua Buatsi versus Zach Parker. I mean, I think Joshua Buatsi Zach Parker have different ideas. They're looking at the winner,
of course.
You know, believe it or not, of the fight, the big fight out in Saudi Arabia on the 22nd of November. And I think that Frank Warren has actually said, look, it could be Benavidez, it could be Yarde if you win this one. But is that just motivation for both of these guys to put on a big fight? I think the more realistic fight
is Willie Hutchinson.
No, I think the more realistic fight is the winner of Brad Ray Lyndon Arthur versus the winner of Buatsi versus Parker. But Willie
I'm not
Hutchinson,
sure about that.
Willie Hutchinson
for who? For Brad Ray?
If Brad Ray wins tonight, Willie Hutchinson's a good opponent.
Yeah,
for him.
absolutely.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally agree with that. Willie Hutchinson's like sort of, you know, he's gone under the radar a little bit. He's coming off a great win last week against Mark Jeffers, a 7th round KO. It was a brilliant win, put himself back in that mix, and he's here tonight, Willie Hutchinson, and he's sniffing around, looking for an opponent. I've got to tell you,
and he'll sell a fight, mate.
What a character!
When I go wandering, I'll try and get him on air as well, because he's always entertaining. The other thing I'd say is Willie Hutchinson, as I say, even though he got beaten by Joshua Buatsi, he still came back late in that fight very strongly.
He did indeed. Listen, we're just going to pause in the action for a split second, because we are going to get to that European title fight in a moment or two. Thomas Treiber, the MC here for Queensberry, has just stepped into the ring, because we are going to have a 10-bell salute. So I'm going to shut up. Thomas Treiber is going to take over on the microphone in a moment, as the lights have just dipped inside the Co-op Arena, and he's going to give us a 10-bell salute. I think you know in what direction this is going to be. We are in Manchester at a boxing event for the first time since the passing of Ricky Hatton. So all tributes for this Manchester crowd are going to be paid in a moment or two. Don't forget, coming up a little bit later on, the main event will be Joshua Buatsi against Zach Parker, with both of those guys with big eyes on eating at the very top table of the light heavyweight division. Just a little bit of a pause in the action. I think we're waiting for the TV at the moment, Gareth. That's what we're waiting for.
I think we're waiting for George Warren to finish his answer to Adi Oladipo, and then we'll get to Thomas Treiber.
We'll get there in a moment. But it's important to do, obviously, things like this. This is the first time, like I said, we've been back in front of a Manchester audience. Not necessarily this arena, which Ricky made obviously incredibly famous. A new arena here where somebody else can obviously go on to make things famous, but it was this crowd. These are the types of people that were coming out in their thousands to follow Ricky Hatton around the world.
Should it be called the Ricky Hatton Arena?
I think there should be absolutely a statue built in Ricky Hatton's honour. It's difficult now because that arena that he made famous, we're kind of moving away from it. We're kind of coming back over this way towards the Etihad. But for me, absolutely, there should be a statue built in Ricky Hatton's honour in the city centre.
Well, Brad Ray's about to walk. The first time I ever met Brad Ray was with Ricky Hatton. Ricky said, "You've got to look at this guy." I see Paul Speak, Ricky's long-term manager, is across the ring from us right now. And I spoke to Carol Hatton, his mum, for an hour in the week. And they're still devastated, the family, of course, as many people still are. That wonderful, wonderful memorial to him on October the 10th here, when the whole city turned out, if not the whole boxing world. As I think Liam, I think as Paul Smith said, he's never seen so many squashed noses in a cathedral in his life.
A little mention for the Ricky Hatton Foundation as well, which is, you may have seen on social media. I would thoroughly encourage you to follow that on social media, as they are beginning now to start to do some fantastic work in Ricky's memory, and you can find out more information about the Ricky Hatton Foundation on social media. I'll post some links to that a little bit later on. I'm sure you can hear now the music has just dipped. Thomas Tribe are waiting for his instructions from the ringside officials as people are taking the place ringside for this special tribute.
Ladies and gentlemen, as is our tradition, when a member of the boxing community passes, we pay our respects with a 10-count memorial. Sadly, as we all are aware, we lost one of the greatest boxers that Britain has ever produced. Not only was Ricky the Hitman Hatton a superbly talented fighter, but he was also a phenomenal person, and the thoughts of everyone at Queensberry go out to his family and friends at this awful time. We now ask for a moment of silence as the timekeeper tolls 10 in memory of Ricky the Hitman Hatton. Thank you very much. May God rest his soul. Let's now welcome to the ring our chief support participants. First, the challenger, Lyndon King Arthur.
And all the roads we have to walk are winding, and all the lights that lead us there are blinding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. Because maybe
here he comes, Lyndon King Arthur, draped in red to the sounds of Oasis, being accompanied by his young son, who's actually thrown a few shapes at the top there. He might be doing a little bit himself. Big night this, Gareth, for Lyndon Arthur. I mean, this is a guy that has been there, done it, and got the T-shirt. He's never won the European title, of course, so a major opportunity for him tonight. But given his age and given the amount of opportunities he's been given, you would think that he has to take tonight's chance.
He's saying in his 10-year career, you know, he's never really done proper camps. He's never dedicated himself right. He's never had a nutritionist. He's done all those things in his last two fights. He knows he's coming to the third stage of his career that many fighters have. He will not consider, even though he won't underestimate Brad Ray, that he belongs in the same hemisphere as him, in the same stratosphere as him. And he'll want to prove something tonight. He's a very proud man, trained by another Manchester hero in Pat Barrett, of course, who we all loved, who was a beast in there. And I'm expecting a great performance from him tonight, Adam.
Well, he's in the ring.
And now let's welcome the defending champion, Brad the Sting Ray.
tribute from Brad Ray towards Ricky Hatton on the back of his light blue, grey top that he's wearing on the way to the ring. He says R.I.P. Ricky with a picture of the blue moon, and you've just heard obviously the song ringing out before the Stone Roses ring round the Co-op Arena here in Manchester. A real tribute to Manchester music. We've had Oasis, we've now got the Stone Roses. It's red versus blue as the European champion Brad Ray makes his way to the ring, Gary.
Yeah, he looks in phenomenal shape. He looks very, very focused. How this guy used to squeeze his frame into a stone and a bit lighter is beyond me. Very, very tall man. Likes to be aggressive in his fights. Switch hitter, of course, and no doubt we'll see that tonight. A lot of switch hitting from him, because that could be very effective against Lyndon Arthur. And what a tribute to Ricky Hatton.
Absolutely. The optics of this, obviously you're consuming this via talkSPORT 2 and the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, but the optics of this are fantastic. This city is built on football rivalry, music, and obviously fighting. Blue versus red.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 12 rounds, and it will be for the EBU European Light Heavyweight Championship. Brought to you by Frank Warren for Queensberry, along with their great sponsors. 32 Red, Unibet, Riyadh Season, Global Next Trade, and That Prize Guy. It is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, steward in charge, Suzanne Potts, along with the European Boxing Union supervisor, Charles Giles, timekeeper, Phil Morris. Our 3 judges assigned will be Lee Every of England, Victor Laughlin of Scotland, and Mark Lyson of England. Our referee in charge will be Kieran McCann of England. Introducing to you first, the challenger. Fighting out of the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing red with black and weighed in officially at 174.13 pounds. Hailing from right here, Manchester, England. He has a professional record of 24 wins, 3 defeats, with 16 of his 24 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the challenger and former IBO Light Heavyweight World Champion, Lyndon King Arthur! And his opponent across the ring, he is a defending champion, fighting out of the blue corner. He comes to the ring wearing light blue with white and weighed in officially at 173.13 pounds. Hailing from right here, Manchester, England. He has a professional record of 21 wins, just 1 defeat. 10 of his 21 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the reigning and defending EBU European Light Heavyweight Champion, Brad the Sting Ray!
Lads, listen up. I spoke to you both in the dressing room. You know what to expect, okay? Keep the fight clean, obey my commands. Most importantly, gents, protect yourself at all times, all right? Shake hands.
Final instructions from the referee, all complete. It is blue versus red. Blue shorts for Brad Ray, red shorts for Lyndon Arthur in this light heavyweight showdown. Coming up a little later on, we've got Joshua Buatsi against Zach Parker. You're going to hear all of this live on the talkSPORT network and on talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. Calling you through the fight, it's Spencer Oliver and John Rawling.
Ray in the sky blue shorts of Manchester City. He came in a gown. On the back of it, it said R.I.P. Ricky. Poignant, emotional, and now he has to deliver a real top-class performance to beat a very talented veteran of the British ring. Lyndon Arthur, now 34 years old, 7 years the older man. Ray actually is slightly taller with longer reach, and it's going to be interesting to see who imposes themselves better in the early stages. And both of them looking to work behind the orthodox left-hand lead. And of course, Arthur is noted as being a man with a great left jab, and if he can get into a rhythm, he will take some... Oh, good right hand from Arthur. It was the classic left lead right cross, smashed into the side of Ray's head, but he took it well.
Yeah, massive shot there from Lyndon Arthur, who's found his range with that jab early, and that is his key weapon. Right hand again there from Lyndon Arthur, who's got into a rhythm early here, but what a comeback there from Ray.
Ray with a great right hand of his own, and what an opening round we're having here. It really is a boiling atmosphere and a tremendous first 90 seconds. Only at the halfway stage of this opening round, and both men have landed seriously concussive right hands.
Yeah, both guys looking very sharp here. Brad Ray on the front foot, controlling centre of the ring. Lyndon Arthur working around the perimeter, and he's snapping out that jab as Ray switches the attacks to the body. Lyndon Arthur with his back to the ropes.
The crowd making its own tribute to Ricky Hatton, walking along in a winter wonderland. Incidentally, if you didn't see it last weekend at Aintree, a horse called Hitman won the big race, 46,000 quid, and the co-owners, a fella called Jed Mason and one Sir Alex Ferguson, you've probably heard of him, they gave the 46,000 quid to the Ricky Hatton Foundation. What a tribute.
Yeah, what a beautiful tribute that was. And then we got another tribute to Ricky Hatton here tonight, and that's Brad Ray wearing the colours of Ricky Hatton's favourite team, Manchester United. Manchester City, and he'll be looking to do a job here.
Another solid right hand from Arthur, and another one. And I tell you what, Ray doesn't want to be standing there and absorbing those. He's hanging his chin out of it, and we go into the last 15 seconds of the opening round. And for me, Lyndon Arthur, who was the outsider going into this, has done enough to take this opening round. We'll see if Spencer Oliver agrees in a moment as we're into the last few seconds of the first 3 minutes. Spenny, do you agree?
Yep, good round there from Lyndon Arthur, who found his range early, and his key weapon, Lyndon Arthur, is that jab, and he found it. He was finding the target, and he was whipping the right hands in as well. He took Brad Ray by surprise, stung him early in the round actually, and caught him again towards the end of the round. Now these two have history, go back a long, long way. Brad Ray was only a young man when he used to spar Lyndon Arthur, who used to be the dominant force in those sparring sessions, so he knew what he was going into here, Brad Ray, but he comes in as a champion, and Lyndon Arthur as the underdog. But great start there from Lyndon Arthur, 1 round up after 1 round.
He was almost in a trance before the fight began. He was crouching in his corner with his hooded gown pulled down over his eyes, but my goodness, didn't he announce himself? You're listening to Brad Ray against Lyndon Arthur from Manchester's Co-op Live Arena. It's a European light heavyweight title fight into the second round, and we're building up to our main event of Josh Buatsi against Zach Parker, which is coming up here at the massive Co-op Arena here in Manchester after this one ends.
Yeah, beginning in his second round, and Lyndon Arthur whipping out that jab again. Real stinging shot that's slapping into the face of Brad Ray. And Ray standing in front of him, but needs a little bit of lateral movement himself. It's not good enough. Just standing there with Arthur, who clearly has the edge in speed, and the crowd trying to get behind Brad Ray here as he pushes forward.
And landed a big left hand, which really got them buzzing up in the bleachers, because it put Lyndon Arthur back onto his heels. Arthur, who's dictated most of the course of the opening 4 minutes. We're only in the second round, goodness me. It's a 12-rounder. We've had more action and more big punches in the first round and a half than many a fight has in a full 12 rounds. This is dramatic, and for Lyndon Arthur, I think he knows that his career is on the line here tonight. If he loses, it's going to be a long way back. Good work from Ray, big right hand, and he just slips under it. Lyndon Arthur as the two lean on, and the referee has had a really quiet time of it so far. He's not had to get involved.
Yeah, clean work from both of the guys as Brad Ray tries to push forward, tries to break the rhythm of Lyndon Arthur, who's been working well, but Ray having a good spell here. Right hands landing, and Lyndon Arthur forced back to the ropes, and Ray working the right hands to the head of the body.
Good work indeed from Ray, the man from Stretford over in Trafford. Lyndon Arthur, the Manchester man. Both of them really landing big shots, neither of them holding back. Both of them looking to find the real payoff punch, which could maybe bring an early end to this fight. And there's some real bruising opening up and developing around the left eye of Brad Ray, including a mouse which is swelling by the second underneath that left eyebrow.
Yeah, that's a big problem, John. The eye is swelling up really badly as Brad Ray tries to force himself forward. Big left hook there, and he drops Lyndon Arthur.
He put him down with a perfect left hook. The count's at 6, at 7, at 8. He gets up. The referee's having a good look, and he says, "Are you all right?" And Arthur says, "Of course I am." But now he's going looking for the end of it here, Ray. He's trying to finish it in the remaining seconds of this round. He has another couple of huge headshots, and Arthur fighting on instinct. And what a round for Brad Ray. Arthur looks as though he might have been taking the second to add to a dramatic first. But what a turnaround with that left hook. Let's listen in to Pat Barrett, who's talking to Lyndon Arthur. Well, he was squared up when he was caught by that left hand, and if there was any dodgy language coming out in the corner there, I have to say apologies for that, but you can hardly blame them because that might be the best punch that Brad Ray's ever thrown.
Yep, Lyndon Arthur overreached, he held his feet and reached forward with the right hand, fell short, and Brad Ray made him pay the price with a big left hook. The big question now, is that minute long enough? Has he recovered?
And we now go into the third round, and a good right hand from Arthur, and another one, teeing off, aiming towards that swollen left eye of Brad Ray, who also knows that this is a fight that could really announce him to the British fight public. Two more huge right hands from Arthur, but back comes Ray. He's onto the front foot, trying to return fire with fire.
What a fight we have here. Brilliant start to the round from Lyndon Arthur, but look at the answer from Brad Ray, who's showing grit, determination to be sticking in there, and he's having success again himself here as Lyndon Arthur again pinned on the ropes.
Lyndon Arthur's bottom lip is damaged, maybe by the left hook, which put him on the floor in the second round. He feints to throw the jab, feints to throw the right hand, but then it's Ray who lands a left hand of his own. Arthur at range maybe has the superior jab, but he cannot afford to get suckered in to the area he was in the second round when he was caught by that left hook. The two of them lean on now, and for a moment the action just slows, but then a big right hand from Ray. Arthur takes it well this time.
Yeah, big shot there, and he just misses wildly with the left hook as well. Lyndon Arthur spending too long, getting too greedy, staying on the inside. He needs to get back to the jab. That's his key weapon, but he's mixing fire with fire, and that is a gamble.
What a difficult fight this one is to call at this stage. Lyndon Arthur was the outsider according to the bookies, and Brad Ray with that second round knockdown, which he scored on the older Arthur with that left hook, he's now going to be ahead on the judges' cards. Fascinating fight. Another big right hand from Ray, and he follows up with a left hook as Arthur's slow to get his gloves up and try to protect himself. More big right hands, huge hooks, all coming in from Ray. And Arthur tries to stifle him on the ropes, but he's finding it very difficult to keeping Brad Ray at bay.
Yeah, Brad Ray is relentless at the moment, pushing forward, landing big right hands. He wants to turn this into a dogfight as both guys stand centre of the ring. Who's going to tee off first here? Will it be the jab of Lyndon Arthur? Both guys looking to counter each other, counter-punch each other, and Ray's the guy that leads off and falls short. That eye is now swelling up worse now from Brad Ray. What a contest we have here.
Last 10 seconds of the third round. Ray might have done enough to take this one as well, as he just switches as the bell goes. What a terrific fight. Adam Catterall and Gareth Davis are open-mouthed.
Brilliant, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. Listen, Spencer touched upon it in commentary then. When this fight is long, the jab of Lyndon Arthur is absolutely superb, and he's following it up with a lovely backhand. That's what he needs to do, but he's finding it difficult because of the switch hitting of Ray. He's been able to switch his feet beautifully to get on the inside, and his hand speed is absolutely rapid.
Well, the thing is about Ray, because his left eye is closing, he wants to go to work, and he has done that. He's walking through that jab of Lyndon Arthur. Arthur's using all his experience to stay in the fight at the moment. I think Ray needs to keep doing the same thing. Just pour the pressure on. Look at that eye, it's almost closed.
You're talking about Brad Ray's left eye is closing quickly. We're only in the fourth round.
But what a fight!
A reminder, you can watch along with us at ringside here in the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester. Head over to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel right now to get involved, because coming up later is Joshua Buatsi against Zach Parker live on talkSPORT 2. And this, for the moment, well, what an aperitif we've got. Brad Ray against Lyndon Arthur. European light heavyweight title fight. Ray might be just ahead. He had his man down in a dramatic second round, but Arthur's regrouped and lands another solid right hand and an uppercut. And back comes Ray with a good left hand of his own. They are really going for broke.
They really are. Yep, you want to watch four guys getting slightly excited, I suggest you switch over to the YouTube channel now, because what a fight we've got here into round four. Both guys having success, but now the success is coming from Brad Ray, who lands a brilliant left hook as Lyndon Arthur tries to fight his way off the ropes.
And he's in trouble again, Arthur. Sent along the ropes by a left hook and a right hand. Sinks onto the ropes on the far side. Referee's having a very close look. Let's not have another contentious, maybe early stoppage here. This is a brilliant fight, and the crowd and we are hoping to see this develop. But the two of them now are right in the pocket, face to face, and who's getting the better of it? Great right hand from Arthur now as he comes off the ropes. What a fight!
Yeah, both guys trading blow for blow, but he will not be denied. Brad Ray, who pins Arthur on the ropes again. Arthur, to his credit, counter-punching well. Short uppercuts on the inside, just throws a right hand through the middle. This one is really on a knife edge. Which way is this going to go?
Minute to go in the fourth round, and Ray might be just ahead. The defending champion, remember, in this European light heavyweight fight, the main support event to Joshua Buatsi against Zach Parker coming up after this one. Tell you what, that fight's going to have to go some if it's going to match the excitement of this. Ray misses with a big overhand right. Arthur just allows the pace to slow for a moment, measuring himself, looking for a chance maybe to throw that right hand, that big right hand, his most hurtful punch. Once again, almost inevitably, the action has slowed for a second or two.
Yeah, both guys trying to draw the other one's lead here. And as I look at Brad Ray, who stands above us with that left hand held low, the left side of his face is grossly swollen now, and Arthur again with a big shot.
Great right hand that was, once again by Arthur, and another couple of quality jabs. Fighting at range, he is such a talent. He maybe has won that round. We go into the Brad Ray corner now and hear the advice that is being given to the champion.
2 more then, Brad. Lovely. 1 more, mate. Beautiful. Right. 4 rounds up the top, mate. 4 rounds up with a knockdown as well. Right. Don't stay in front of him. So they're boxing for a little bit. Yeah? Right. The only way you're going to do that is like get the feet moving a little bit. Yeah, little steps, okay? Let's go chill. Maybe my hand over the top, mate. You drink. You're just catching the shots a little bit too much. You don't need to, Brad. Remember, when I say gym drill, it's that. Yeah. Come on.
I think I heard Andy Averill there saying that he'd won the first 4 rounds, including a knockdown. I cannot go along with that. My way of looking at it, Spencer, Lyndon Arthur is still very much in this one and may have won the last round.
Yep, it was a very close round, swing round. It could have gone either way, but Lyndon Arthur is most certainly still in this one. He's been hurt badly a couple of times, but boy, he's had his successes with the right hand himself, and that grossly swollen left side of the face there of Brad Ray could become a problem. Which way is this going to go? I don't know. Round 5 with 2 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Anyone's fight here.
They've had what they call the iron working away on the swelling around that left eye, trying to reduce it between rounds, and they look as though they've done a pretty reasonable job on it, although it is reddening and it's almost blue at its worst on the left-hand side of Brad Ray's face, and the action slower again at the beginning of this 5th round. Arthur content to keep it at range and work behind the jab, lands with a left-hand lead. Ray looking for the chance to leap in behind his faster punches. Both of them at the moment fighting out of an orthodox stance, leading off with the left hand. Good work from Arthur, left hand, right hand. Both punches land on the head of Ray, and according to punch stats that we're getting, Arthur is out jabbing Ray, and total punches landed, not too much between them.
Yeah, Arthur was always going to be that guy who out jabs his opponent because he's got one of the best jabs in the business, and he's doing well mixing it up on the inside as well. Very tough fight, this one. Very tough to score. Brad Ray, yep, I think he's got his nose in front, but Lyndon Arthur, boy, is he in this as they both stand centre of the ring trying to draw the other guy's lead here.
If you're just joining us, where have you been? In the 2nd round, Brad Ray had Lyndon Arthur down, catching him square with a tremendous left hook. There's Arthur again, left-hand lead, right cross. Those are his danger punches, and then he pushes Ray away. Ray takes that right hand okay, and he's actually, to be fair to Brad Ray, he's shown that he's got a good chin in there.
Yeah, he certainly has, but I tell you what, John, he's carrying that left hand down by his waistband, which is not good, because Lyndon Arthur, as soon as he finds a range with that jab, he's whipping in that right hand, and that is slapping right on the side of the face where Ray has those injuries.
Couple of jabs from Lyndon Arthur again, both scoring shots through the guard of Brad Ray, who's feinting to throw but not doing a great deal in this round. The 2 land simultaneously with jabs, not too much difference in power or accuracy, and Lyndon Arthur again might just have done enough to shade this round. Left jab from Ray, it gets through, but that's a decent round from Lyndon Arthur, and he gave a little wry smile in the direction of his opponent as he went back to the corner.
Yep, he was very pleased with that round. It was a slower paced round, and that suits actually Lyndon Arthur, who has those boxing skills. He likes to control the fight at range, and I think that suited him there. Brad Ray took his foot off the gas a little bit, standing in front of Arthur, and was getting caught with the jabs and getting caught with the right hands as well. Lyndon Arthur needed a big round, and I bring you in here, Gareth, he got that big round.
He did, he mollified Ray in that round. Definitely Ray took the round off, but Lyndon Arthur didn't let him in. Brilliant round by the more experienced guy. I've got them very, very close now.
I've got it level on my card, Gareth. 3 apiece, and that's including the 10-8 round to Ray in round 2. I think Lyndon Arthur, the close rounds, I think he's just nicked them. And we go now into the 6th. Remember, this is a 12-round fight you're listening to on talkSPORT 2. European light heavyweight title fight. Brad Ray defending his title against Lyndon Arthur, a great fighter for several years now in the light heavyweight division. And I've got it dead level. I'm told that Carl Frampton has got Brad Ray ahead by 1 point. Where have you got it, Spenny?
Yeah, I'm with you, John, with the 10-8 round. I've got it all level after 5 rounds. Lyndon Arthur's ground himself back into this one. He's had to show character in there. Arthur really is taking some heavy shots, and Brad Ray again leads off with that left hook.
Well, for some reason, I think the television scorecard which Carl Frampton was producing, he didn't give the knockdown as a 10-8 round, which I find interesting, because he was most definitely all over the place, Lyndon Arthur, and there's no way you could justify, I don't think, giving it 10-9.
No, there's a mistake there from someone, but that would definitely be a 10-8 round. It was a big round there, as I say, for Brad Ray, that second round, but Arthur's grinding it out and he's boxing well. This sort of pace suits him as Brad Ray just tries to sidestep, whips the hook in. Arthur blocks it well.
Ray looks effective when he occasionally switches stance and comes in the southpaw stance, and it gives him maybe an opportunity to land his left hook, which is his danger punch. Gets in with one to the body, and Arthur suggests it was low. Referee doesn't want to know though. And now Arthur trying to back up Brad Ray, who lands a solid right hand to the head and the left into the body, but Arthur takes it and comes back with a good right cross of his own. Intriguing stage of the fight, this, Spencer, as we're moving towards the halfway stage.
Yeah, this is becoming as much psychological as it is physical in there at the moment. Both guys are landing shot for shot. Defence is not really existing with either of these guys at the moment. Brad Ray pushing forward, trying to grind something out, trying to break the soul here of Lyndon Arthur, who's having none of it.
Well, he's younger, but is he tougher? Is he fitter? Well, he'll certainly be believing that. He'll think if it goes down the stretch, Brad Ray's going to be the stronger man. But what a terrific right uppercut from Arthur, followed by a left hook and a ramrod straight right hand. And Ray, right in his face, tries to be busy inside, but there's another uppercut there from Lyndon Arthur as we move towards the last 10 seconds of the round. Chopping right hand from Ray. Back comes Arthur with a right hand, left hand of his own, and a flurry of blows to the body. Left hook out of that close exchange from Brad Ray. Great round that was, Adam. Great round.
Absolutely fantastic action. The cojones on Lyndon Arthur to stay in this fight and then get his rhythm going again, and mixing it up with the styles as well. Brad Ray's having success when he cuts off the middle, when he moves to the side and then throws the shots from the lateral side. That's where he's having the majority of his success. But for me, the last couple of rounds have been Lyndon Arthur's. I think his timing has been absolutely exquisite.
I completely agree with you. He's vastly experienced. He's showing his armoury tonight. One of the most exciting fights we've ever seen him in.
Yeah, Lyndon Arthur's working so well now on the inside. That's where he's effective. Those short right uppercuts followed by the chopping left hooks. You're right, guys. Brad Ray's success is coming when he comes in off the line. When he's coming in straight lines, Lyndon Arthur's shoulder roll, whipping the uppercuts and landing the cleaner shots. Another round there for Lyndon Arthur for me.
Yeah, and for me, and we're into the second half of the fight now, and I've got Lyndon Arthur just ahead of the defending champion Brad Ray. And don't forget to subscribe to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our free and exclusive content, including the Talk Boxing Show with Simon Jordan, Spencer Oliver and Paul Smith. And you can also watch along with us at ringside right now as we build up to our main event later on, our main fight, Joshua Buatsi against Zach Parker. But what a terrific main undercard fight we have here, this European light heavyweight title fight.
Yeah, what a contest we have here as we enter the second half of this fight and which way is it going to go. The action has been real seesaw, and as I say that, huge right hand lands there from Lyndon Arthur. The sweat went spraying, John.
Mercifully, Brad Ray rode that one just a little bit and went with the punch, because if it had caught him flush, he'd have been on his back. Arthur is looking for that opportunity with the right hand all the time, and now, unsurprisingly, Brad Ray has his gloves up higher, but another big right hand right through the guard from Lyndon Arthur. How many more of those can Brad Ray take?
That's the question, John. Who's going to crack here? Because both guys are taking huge shots, but Lyndon Arthur has found some form of rhythm. He's getting into the rhythm. Pat Barrett in his corner is screaming out the advice. Keep it long, son. Behind the jab, whipping the right hand. He's boxing to instructions here.
If you've been following boxing for a while, you'll know that Pat Barrett, the trainer of Lyndon Arthur, was a hell of a fighter himself in the day, and his tactics seem to be spot on. Another great right hand from Arthur. Left jab followed by that right hand, but there's a smear of blood now from the nose of Lyndon Arthur. Both of them are showing the badges of conflict.
Yeah, both guys really having their successes in there, aren't they? Like I said, the physicalities are leaving both of these now. It's becoming a psychological battle. Who wants it most? Who's going to grit down? Who's going to bite on that gum shield?
Absolutely, this is a crossroads fight for these two. First defence of his title for Brad Ray. Lyndon Arthur, first time going for a European title, but whoever wins this surely has big paydays and big nights ahead. Arthur looking for Brad Ray to commit himself, picks him off with a straight left hand, right hand, and then an uppercut inside. Ray's trying to pressure him in close, but the quality work is coming from Arthur as we come into the last 10 seconds of the round, and we'll find out how Pat Barrett is reading this one as we go now into the Lyndon Arthur corner, where he sinks down onto his stool, looking very, very tired indeed.
That's what got the knockdown before. You know, when I say for 1-2, just support the simple 1-2, pop out, step back, listen to me. Goes, instrument, every time. Yeah, you have to change the tempo, you have to stay in place. You got to let your hands go a bit more, pop, 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 and then tie him up. Pop, 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 tie him up. But you've got to do that, let your hands go more. Yeah, not drop. You got fast hands, use it. Yeah, you just done it then when he was leaning onto you. Tie him up then, tie his hands up and working. Referee sounds break, start again. Yeah, because all he's trying to do is get close. Just tie him. Don't come with a lazy jab.
Pat Barrett speaking to Lyndon Arthur, and you can tell by the tone of his voice that he knows that so many of these rounds are close. That last one, no exception. I just about edged it to Arthur. How did you have it, Spencer?
Yeah, I'm the same as you, John, and this is razor close, this fight. You know, it could be won and lost going into these last few rounds, and Pat Barrett there saying, listen, you got to do the right thing, son. Don't throw the lazy jab. Make sure you throw the combinations off that. But guess what? He can't afford to get greedy here, because he's a very dangerous young fighter, Brad Ray, and if Arthur sits there too long, he'll get nailed.
You heard him say, want to see you throw more punches, stay busy, bap, bap, bap. Stone, throw more punches and make the most of it when you land on the target. And here he comes again with a left hand, right hand. Back comes Brad Ray with a right of his own. Looks for a big right hand follow-up. Misses around the left ear of Lyndon Arthur, who lands another good right hand inside, and then covers up as Ray comes forward and pushes him back into his own red corner right in front of us.
Yeah, good work this from Ray. Lyndon Arthur is pinned in that red corner. Ray whips in the right hand, and there's a strong physical look around Brad Ray as we enter this stage of the fight. But as I say that, lovely 1-2, and then followed by the uppercut and hook there from Lyndon Arthur, and look at the response from Ray.
Ray is supremely fit. He's leaning on to Arthur, trying to throw punches in bunches, trying to throw a greater volume of leather than the veteran Lyndon Arthur is able to produce. but he just backs off now, allowing Arthur to come forward, who blocks an attempted overhand right. He's looking for the opportunity to establish that left-hand lead again. Forward comes Ray, misses with a chopping right hand and a left hook. Neither of them able to land clear scoring punches at this point, but then Arthur does get through with a left-hand lead and a right hook.
Yeah, Arthur then just narrowly misses with that right uppercut as Brad Ray tries to push forward, gets caught with a 1-2. Arthur goes again, tries to go through phase 2. Response here from Brad Ray again as both guys hold centre of the ring, trading blow for blow. What action we have here in the 8th round.
Good body shots from Arthur, a right hand and a left hand. And he finishes with a switch to the head, tries to throw a left hook, but there's a right hand, left hand from Ray, taken well by Lyndon Arthur, but he doesn't want to be allowing the younger man to be landing headshots at this stage of the fight. Last 20 seconds now of the 8th round, and remember it's a 12-rounder. Who's going to be stronger down the stretch? Another good right hand from Lyndon Arthur, who's trying to maintain his composure, centre ring, but he absorbs another big right hand from Ray, who's trying to mount a real eye-catching flurry of punches. Big attack in the closing stages, and a touch of appreciation between the two men as they go back to their corner. Gareth, are you managing to keep your breath?
It's incredible, this fight. Up to that round, for several rounds, Lyndon Arthur had been slipping the right hand of Brad Ray, but he got caught too many times by it in that round. That was incredibly close in the 8th round as they exchanged massive fire. It will come down now in the final third to who wants it the most.
And who's the fitter? Who's got the greatest stamina?
Absolutely. Listen, I've been in this stage of a fight before, and it is all about that psychological warfare that you have for yourself now. It becomes a mental battle. Fatigue will be setting in. Both guys now are showing the marks of a really tough fight. Who wants it most? Here we go, round number 9.
I gave that last one narrowly to the champion, Brad Ray, and on my card now, there's just 1 point between them in Lyndon Arthur's favour. So if that's reflected in the cards of the judges, it is all up for grabs in the remaining 4 rounds.
Yep, 4-round fight on all of our scorecards. I think we're all in agreement here that Lyndon Arthur may just have his nose in front. There's been a couple of swing rounds, and as I say that, both guys exchange right hands. Brad Ray falls in, Lyndon Arthur lands a good right uppercut again. Success is finding with that as Ray comes in square.
Ray is maybe finding the youthful exuberance to push Arthur and to land the more punches, but the quality for me is coming from Lyndon Arthur, as you hear the referee there telling both men to avoid using the elbows in close, missing with attempted hooks and following in with forearms and elbows. Good uppercut in there from Lyndon Arthur.
John, rolling on with you. I think the quality work is coming from Lyndon Arthur, and that's where the rounds are being won and lost for me, because there's a terrific effort coming from Brad Ray here as he's trying to grind it out, but the quality work for me coming from Lyndon Arthur.
And I have to give credit to the Ray corner, who've done a great job with dealing with that swollen left eye. It looked as though it was going to maybe affect his vision some 5 or 6 rounds ago, but they've worked away with the iron in the corner and they've kept him relatively unscathed compared with what he looked like 2 or 3 rounds ago.
Yeah, the left side of his face was really swelling up, and they've done a tremendous job with that. And let me tell you guys, the pain of that when they're pushing that bump away from the eye, you know, is excruciating. And he's had to deal with that as well, Ray, and he's still forcing the fight, still pushing forward as we go into the last minute of round number 9.
You're listening to Big Time Boxing, Championship Boxing on talkSPORT 2. Final fight before our main event of the night. That's Josh Buatsi against Zach Parker. Could be a fascinating contest itself, but it's going to have to go some to be better than this. And I still, for the life of me, cannot be certain which way this is going to go.
No, this is all going to come down to subjective scoring, what you like, what you don't like, because both guys have left it all in the ring here, and this is another razor-tight round as we reach the 15-second mark. And John, I really don't know how to split this one.
Lyndon Arthur landed with a couple of quality left-hand leads, as you spoke there, and then that right over the top, and the left hand, and the big right hand, all from Arthur, and they'll catch the judge's eyes, and he may well have taken the round with that. Let's get into that Brad Ray corner and hear from his trainer speaking to him here, and hear how Andy Abrol reads this.
And you're reacting to what he does. He's got to start taking over 3 rounds now. Brad, you've got 9 minutes, son. 9 minutes now. If he wins 2 within these 3 rounds, he's won the fight. And I'm being serious, right? Don't feel sorry for yourself. Look at this. Look around now. Look around now. It's your fucking arena. Right? Brad, this is for you. Listen, don't feel sorry for yourself. You need to let your hands go. 2 phases. You face the fiddle. Stop eating his shots. Brad, 2 phases. Come on.
Well, he heard Andy in no uncertain terms telling him to look at this arena and see how many people are here for him. And if he allowed a little word to slip in there, my apologies for that, as I'm obliged to do.
Yeah, John, great motivation. Do start feeling sorry for yourself when it's not quite going your way. And both guys are having to dig deep here. Who's going to turn it around? 3 rounds to go. Anyone's fight.
Quality uppercut in there from Arthur, but right in his face, this swarming pressure that Ray is trying to produce, and it's making it difficult for Arthur to land his best shots. Forward comes Ray again with another good left hand, forces Arthur back. We've got Arthur ahead on our card, and I'm told that Carl Frampton agrees with the DAZN television coverage, and Spencer as well is agreeing that Lyndon Arthur is ahead.
Yeah, I have Lyndon Arthur 2 rounds ahead, but I like the corner work of Brad Ray when they said you need to go with phase 2, son, because you're throwing the 1-2, you're getting yourself in there, then you need to go again. Great advice, and if he doesn't apply it, he's going to come up short.
Who's going to have the guts, the desire that Gareth's spoken about, and who's going to have the technical ability and the accuracy to produce the big shots when it matters in these remaining minutes? Good uppercut inside from Arthur, having slipped a big left hand from Ray. Ray lands a right hand over the shoulder of Arthur, who manages to slip underneath the follow-up punch. Better work again for me, just coming from Lyndon Arthur, but sheer determination from Brad Ray.
Yeah, it really is, and as you said that, it was 1, 2, 3 hooks from there from Brad Ray, who's really trying to grind this out, but the better work is coming from Lyndon Arthur on the inside, whipping that right uppercut that's been a success for him from the open bells. I say that, another one goes in, and Brad Ray
he almost lifted him off his feet with that one. What an uppercut that was. Ray's taken it though, and despite looking as though he's in big trouble, he's holding on, narrowing the gap, and there's blood now coming from the nose of Brad Ray, and that damage might have been inflicted by that shattering uppercut that Lyndon Arthur landed.
Yeah, great work from both guys, and Lyndon Arthur throws a right uppercut, and simultaneously Brad Ray lands a left hook. Both guys are really digging deep. The blood coming from the mouth of Arthur, blood coming from the nose of Brad Ray, who gets hit with another right uppercut on the inside.
Anybody who's watched this either on DAZN or heard it with us on the radio or watched it on talkSPORT on the YouTube channel, they'll remember this, because this has been one hell of a fight. Great punches up to the bell from Lyndon Arthur, who punches the air. I think, Adam, he thinks that he's got this.
Experience tells sometimes in fights like this. He is fighting out of his skin. He's out-thinking Bradley Ray at this moment in time. Lyndon Arthur, for me, he's a good couple ahead. What Ray stopped doing, he stopped coming off the line. He's fighting in straight lines. He needs to get off the line and start throwing his hands round the corners rather than straight. That's where he had the success in rounds 2, 3 and 4. He's not having that anymore, Gary.
Lyndon Arthur's 2 rounds, maybe even 3 rounds ahead for me. I haven't been able to count my scorecard given the excitement here in the ring. Lyndon Arthur's proving that he's a level above in terms of the ring smarts and boxing ability. But believe me, Brad Ray is so resilient and determined, he could still turn this around with a stoppage.
He could, but there are only 2 rounds remaining, and the crowd is just living this one.
Yeah, they certainly are. And here we go, beginning of round 11, and Lyndon Arthur trying to keep that distance, working behind the jab. He feels comfortable when at range, and he has been controlling it in the last few rounds at range. And to talk about the point that Adam Cattrall was making there about Brad Ray coming in straight lines, that's because the fatigue has set in. He can't manoeuvre himself around the way that he'd like to. This kid is fighting on heart and determination in there at the moment.
Great work from Ray, as you said that. He came in aiming big headshots, but Arthur's defence was cute, and he now lands a couple of jabs. Tries to whip in that right over the top, which has served him so well, and then he manages to block a flurry of punches from Brad Ray, who needs to have a big round here. There's blood coming from the nose of Lyndon Arthur, his right nostril. Maybe that his nose is broken. Both of them carrying the scores of what's been an absolutely enthralling fight.
Yeah, absolute barn burner we've had here tonight at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester. Round 11, 1 minute 40 seconds to go in this round, and this fight is on a knife edge. It could go with a couple of the close rounds, it could be swing rounds, it could be won and lost here in these final 2 rounds.
Well, sometimes people raise an eyebrow, don't they, about the quality of undercards for these big fights. We've got the main event, Buatsi against Parker, yet to come. There's another great right hand from Arthur. His corner in front of us, sprung to their feet and urged him forward to follow up. But I think that he's not got a huge amount left in the tank now. And who's going to be the stronger going up to the line? Just 4 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I tell you what, John, Brad Ray's nose looks broken now. He's bleeding heavily, grossly swollen, and this kid is fighting on instinct in there, as you see him spitting out the blood that is pouring from his nose in round number 11. 45 seconds to go.
This has been an epic. Good jab from Lyndon Arthur again. It's the European light heavyweight title. Brad Ray with blood now streaming from his nose. He's the man defending. And Lyndon Arthur, he's got blood coming from his nose. And he had the trace of a smile on his face as he absorbed another solid left hand. And every second that both men can avoid taking huge punches here is a precious little move towards the finishing line. 10 seconds remaining in the penultimate round. Has Brad Ray done enough to win this one? Maybe so. How do you score that, Spencer?
Yeah, Brad Ray may have done enough just to steal that round. He's closed the gap for me, but I've got it 2 rounds to Lyndon Arthur with 1 round to go. Let's get into the red corner here of Lyndon Arthur.
Let's get military. Listen, these 2 rounds are important. Let's get back to being sharp.
Last round, shake hands, okay?
Right, well listen, these last round is important. Listen to me. Don't get sloppy, son. He's surviving now. Yeah, you give that away. Okay? Don't let him survive on you. Yeah, you did. Right? Yeah, no, but you didn't throw nothing as well. Right? Listen to me, get behind the boxing, he'll come out against southpaw. When you drop down, boom, back to that. Yeah? Because you're letting him throw it.
Everyone says him up 1 round, you need to win this round.
Bloodbath heard Lyndon Arthur saying, but I didn't get hit. And he said, well, you didn't throw anything either. Well, and he's instilling in him, you've got to get out there and win this last round.
Well, that's how close this fight could be. The 12th and final round of this European light heavyweight title fight. Brad Ray and Lyndon Arthur have left it all on the line, all in the ring here. Could this fight be won and lost in these last 3 minutes?
Well, I've got it by 2 rounds to Lyndon Arthur, and he's now trying to work behind that great left jab, which has served him so well in this contest, but he's just taking a back step, aims to throw the right over the top. It was just slipped by Ray, who moved inside it and took it on his shoulder, I think. Didn't land on the head, and neither of them landing anything particularly eye-catching in the first 50 seconds or so of this final round.
Yeah, you can give them a breather for that one, if I'm totally honest. This has been a grueling contest, a fast-paced contest, and a 1-2 there. They just knocked Lyndon Arthur off his feet, but both guys now, John, they're fighting on instinct. They're on empty.
Brad Ray switched to the southpaw stance, and I have to say that I think he's had more success when he's been leading off with that right-hand lead, because it gives more opening for his danger punch, the left hook. But neither of them has landed anything telling so far in this final round, and I think both of them are just about spent.
Yeah, I think they say, John, in the game, they've both blown a gasket. You know, as I said, they're fighting on instinct. The crowd have absolutely loved it in here. 7,000 strong crowd turned out for this, and both of these guys have delivered.
Moving now towards the final minute, and it's the sort of fight, I think, where people are going to be standing and cheering as we move to the closing seconds, because both of them have performed quite superbly in there. Who knows? It might be a draw. It's not impossible. Great fight, and you'd certainly watch it again, but I think Lyndon Arthur's just had the edge in quality. It's been a quiet last round. Who's going to, if either of them, be able to produce the grandstand finish? Chopping right hand from Arthur, back comes Ray with a left hook. Maybe Arthur got the better of that exchange. Jab from Arthur, and an uppercut, right uppercut, inside, and another jab. One taken on the gloves by Ray, who's trying to move into rage to try and mount a last gasp attack. Can he do it?
Yeah, 20 seconds to go on the clock, and he's got to throw everything at the kitchen sink now as Lyndon Arthur pulls out the jab, comes back with a right hand, a 1-2. Brad Ray tries to come back. The 10-second clacker goes.
We're into the last few seconds, and as I thought, people are starting to stand up in appreciation of a quite wonderful contest. There it is, the two smile and hug, embrace. Ray has his arms above his head. He thinks he's won it. Lyndon Arthur's corner, well, they think they've won it, and now we just have to wait and see. What I do know is that we saw there, Spencer, an absolutely brilliant fight.
Yeah, John, that was an absolute barn burner. Memorable fight. The European light heavyweight title was on the line, and probably more importantly than that, the careers of both of these guys at that level. Lyndon Arthur, at 34 years of age, needed victory, and he needed it bad, and guess what? I think he's got it. I think he's done it. I've got him 3 points up here, and I think that, yeah, he feels happy with himself as well. Gareth, I don't know what you think. I think Lyndon's done it.
I've got Lyndon Arthur as a clear winner there. I thought he ran away, even though it was close most rounds, with the last 7 rounds of the fight. Thought he boxed brilliantly. He had to withstand a big assault from Bradley Stingray in the early rounds. Ray's tenacity and tensile strength had just gone in those last 6 minutes. He got boxed into submission there in the last 6 minutes of the fight. That's the greatest Lyndon Arthur I've seen for a very, very long time.
Yeah, fabulous contest, and hats off to both men, and whoever wins that one, obviously it's a major victory in their career, but whoever's lost this, no disgrace, and everybody who's seen it will remember this.
Once Lyndon worked out how to slip Bradley's right hand, he managed to boss the fight quite successfully, even though that was an incredible, entertaining, thrilling, brutal encounter.
There was a knockdown in the second round, remember. It was Lyndon Arthur who touched down, caught by a big left hook from Brad Ray, and both men now are pacing around looking as though both men looking as though they think they've won. Well, I think Thomas Triber's up there now with the microphone and the scorecard, and we're going to get that in just a moment. Get the results, Spencer.
Yeah, I've got it 115-112 in favour of Lyndon Arthur.
Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Lee Every scores it 114-114, even a draw. Judge Victor Laughlin scores it 115-113. And Judge Mark Lyson scores it 115-112. Both for your winner by majority decision. And new EBU European Light Heavyweight Champion, Lyndon King Arthur!
Absolutely the right decision. Lyndon Arthur getting the job done, and he's crowned the new European champion in the light heavyweight division. We will pick the bones out of that next on talkSPORT.
Your live sports station.
Oh, what a move. This is talkSPORT 2. Tuesday afternoon from 2 on talkSPORT 2. Keep it
ahead of all the action in the world of motorsports.
He's shown that you don't need to win from pole position.
Extended, hard-revving roundups, in-depth racing analysis, and big-name interviews.
If I'd gone 1.5 tenths slower, I would have been P10 on the grid. So it's so tight.
talkSPORT 2 rounds up the biggest stories and the latest racing rumors.
Championship points are more vital than ever.
On Track, Tuesday afternoon from 2 on talkSPORT 2.
Fight Night Live. Buatsi versus Parker. Live from Manchester.
On talkSPORT 2.
We're in Manchester at the boxing tonight. We've got Joshua Buatsi and Zach Parker on the way, but the co-main event absolutely delivered. We've got a new European champion in the shape of Lyndon Arthur, and Gareth A. Davies is with him.
I am indeed with the new European light heavyweight champion, a new belt for you, Lyndon Arthur. What a performance.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good. I enjoyed it. Good 12. I got put down, but I got up and I come through. A good fight, man. Brad was tough. Brad didn't want to lose. He's only just signed. He only just won that belt, so he was trying hard the whole way through. We just, I think experience got through in the end.
But so did your skill set, so did your ability to show levels, so did your ability to slip his right hand and control the fight. It was a brutal affair as well.
Yeah, man, he didn't want to lose, and he was trying really hard the whole way through. I felt it, and when he put me down, he really tried to stop me, and I guess experience kind of come through in the end.
It reminded us of the Pat Barrett fights of the past, and he's standing next to you right now. Pat used to be in brutal battles like that all the time.
No, I used to end up quitting me. I'm just saying that about the European. Nah, I don't really know what. It was remarkable. Coming back up the nut down, everything else, kept his composure. I'm proud of him, mate. So proud. And I'm glad he answered the critics that everyone thought. He's been in these big fights. He doesn't want it no more. Of course he wants it.
What do you want now, Lyndon? What do you want now?
A rest.
But who do you want to fight next? Where do you want to take it?
I'm now contracted to sign with Frank, so I'm sure they'll direct me in the right direction. Some big fights, and I want big fights now. I know I ain't got long left. 34, so fuck it, big fights. Let's go.
If Joshua Buatsi wins tonight in our next fight, would you like to fight him?
Me and Buatsi are fighting amateurs, so it'll be a great fight.
Go and enjoy your night. Well done, brilliant performance.
Thank you.
Listen, there's a man that's just become European champion. He's entitled to a little bit of choice language, but if you're offended by that, I apologise on behalf of everybody at talkSPORT. Great performance there, because, as he alluded to, he was dropped in the second round. It's all kicking off in here with a big support for Brad Ray. He's the champion, the ascendancy was with him, but I tell you what, as he pointed out, experience counts in these big moments. He composed himself, Spence, and got the job done.
Experience pulled him through. That was a big shot that dropped him, a big left hook that landed flush on the chin. Trust me, when that shot lands, all you hear is like a bell ringing. It's like boom, and it just goes off in your head. Your legs completely go. You find yourself on the seat of your pants. Now you've got to pick yourself up, keep yourself composed. Not an easy thing to do when you've got a young, hungry champion who wants to, like, when you win a European title or any title, it elevates you to another level. And it would have done that with Brad Ray. And now he's got Arthur on the seat of his pants in round 2. This kid's like, I've got him now. Arthur done incredible to it. You don't realise the mental strength he needed to come through that. Regroup, get behind that jab, mix fire with fire when he had to, work so well with that uppercut on the inside. Beautiful stuff.
We've got a lot of light heavyweights in the building tonight. I believe Callum Smith is in the building, and he's speaking to Gareth A. Davies.
The 175 king, the old 168 king, is here with me. Callum Smith, what do you make of that, first of all, sir?
It was a good fight, wasn't it? Good fight. I think it caught fire pretty early with the knockdown, and then I think it was just kind of, he wanted it more towards the end. I thought Arthur done very well to get back into the fight after the knockdown, because it's a heavy knockdown, but probably the right winner for me in the end.
Obviously, you've beaten Joshua Buatsi, who's up next. On our desk, I think we concede, we acquiesce to the fact you are the #1 175 fighter in this country, but also chasing those fights with Dimitri Bivol, David Benavidez, and Artur Beterbiev. They are the big fights out there. Maybe Anthony Yarde as well at some point. Where are you at the moment with what you're doing?
The WBO, obviously I'm interim champion at the minute. We're not sure what's happening with Bivol. So in the meantime, the WBO have ordered me to fight David Morrell, who's a good fighter. So I'm hearing that's done for early in 2026, so that's the next fight, that's the next move. It's a good fight, he's a very good fighter, but one that I'm looking forward to and one that I'm confident that I win.
You're having an Indian summer in your mid-30s, aren't you? I think you're mid-30s now, I can't even remember. It feels like you've been around for decades, but the David Morrell is a tough fight. There's no easy fights at where you are.
No, definitely not. Like I said, the last one, the Buatsi fight, I think he was ranked number 3 with the Ring magazine. I think Morrell's now ranked number 5. So there's no easy fight when you're up at this level, but that's the way it should be. You know, you don't give away world titles, and the goal is to be a 2-8 world champion. And I believe I'll beat whoever they have to get there. And if they have to beat David Morrell to push on closer to getting where I want to be, then that's the route we'll go.
Thank you, Callum. We can't wait to see you in action very soon next year. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gareth.
Callum Smith catching up with Gareth A. Davies. Fantastic co-main event. They're going to have to go some in this main event, Spence, to keep us to that level of entertainment, aren't they?
Oh, I tell you what, mate, you know, you look at the Liam Cameron, Troy Jones fight and you think that might be fight of the night, and then we see that fight there, Lyndon Arthur versus Brad Ray, and you go, how do you beat that? Joshua Buatsi is really going to have to go some here against Zach Parker. But again, both guys know what's on the line here. You know, it's a real crossroads fight, this one, for both guys at top level. Must-win fight for Joshua Buatsi. It's crazy I'm even saying that when he's only got 1 loss on his record in his last fight to Callum Smith. But Zach Parker...
Live worldwide on DAZN. Let's now welcome to the ring our main event participants. First, here is Zach Parker.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River.
Here comes the man from Derby, Zach Parker. 26 victories, only 1 defeat, 18 of them coming, by the way, knockout. He's undefeated in 4 fights at light heavyweight since moving up after losing to John Ryder. Tyron Zoiga, if you remember, dropped Parker early in that victory, but he managed to rise, box well, get the job done. He's ranked number 3 with the WBO, 13 with the IBF, 11 with the WBC, and 11 with the WBA. We know about the top tier of this division. It is stacked, absolutely stacked. But this is a big night for Zach Parker.
It really is. And again, he's a guy that's physically grown into this weight division. A super middleweight for a long time. A horrible night he had when he wasn't right against John Ryder. Before Ryder fought Saul Canelo Alvarez, when Ryder was very strong at super middleweight and had arguably beaten Callum Smith in Liverpool in a very close fight. So it's a really big moment for him. Similarly to Brad Ray, Adam, against Lyndon Arthur, Zach has a name, but not a name like Buatsi, who's a target in the division. So this is a massive crossroads fight for Zach Parker tonight.
Hell of a walkout tune, by the way. What an absolute beauty this is. He's got everybody doing the karaoke.
And now let's welcome to the ring, Joshua Buatsi.
Says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation.
Sometimes I feel like saying goodbye, but my time has not yet. No, my time has not yet. Lord Jesus, can you give me your eyes?
The pyrotechnics go up here inside the Co-op Arena as we see Joshua Buatsi draped in black. Little bit of a glittery flicker to those robes as he's on the bounce back from his first professional defeat. As Gareth was mentioning a moment or two ago, that first pro loss came against Callum Smith in February. Ranked highly with the Ring magazine, with the WBO and the WBC. We've seen a little bit of a different Joshua Buatsi because normally he's clean shaven on fight night.
I did spot that straight away. He's left a little bit of a growth there. He's had a big bushy beard leading into it. He's normally clean shaven. He looks great. He's a great natural light heavyweight a great Christian. He's climbed one of the big mountains in Ethiopia, by the way, famously as part of his religious faith in between that last Callum Smith fight. For me, his stock rose in that fight against Callum Smith, even though he was outgunned and outfought. It's his fight to lose tonight, but has he peaked? That's what people are asking. He's been a target for a long time. He's a name. He's gone from Eddie Hearn and Matchroom to Frank Warren and Queensberry. He's got some big fights out there left.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our featured bout. It is scheduled for 10 rounds, and it will be for the vacant WBA International Light Heavyweight Championship. Brought to you by Frank Warren for Queensberry, along with their great sponsors. 32 Red, Unibet, Riyadh Season, Global Next Trade, and That Prize Guy. It is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, steward in charge, Suzanne Potts, along with the World Boxing Association. President, Gilberto Mendoza Jr., Supervisor, Juan Francisco Arias, Timekeeper, Chris O'Connor. Our 3 judges assigned will be Marcus McDonald of England, Grzegorz Molenda of Poland, and Salvador Salva of Spain. Our referee in charge will be Michael Alexander of England. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. So boxing fans joining us live worldwide, and boxing fans here in Manchester, England, the hour of truth has arrived. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing black with orange and weighed in officially at 174.9 pounds. Coming to us from Swadlin Coat, Derbyshire, England, he has a professional record of 26 wins, just 1 defeat, with 18 of his 26 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former British champion and the former interim world title challenger, Zach Parker! And his opponent across the ring in this main event, fighting out of the blue corner, he comes to the ring wearing black trunks and weighed in officially at 174.10 pounds. Hailing from Croydon, London, England, he was a 2016 Olympic bronze medalist and now as a professional has a record of 19 wins, just 1 defeat, with 13 of his 19 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former WBO interim light heavyweight champion of the world, Joshua Buatsi!
Right, lads, you both know the rules, so let's just have a good, clean fight, okay? Most important to defend yourselves at all times, all right? Touch close.
The phrase "must not lose" springs to mind when thinking about this fight. Both men need this victory to stay ahead of the chasing light heavyweight pack, and a statement will get tongues wagging. Calling you through, Joshua Buatsi versus Zach Parker, live on the talkSPORT network. It's Spencer Oliver and John Rowling.
Thank you, Adam. Joshua Buatsi, a firm favourite to win this one. Michael Alexander, the referee, in there, giving the final instructions. And the last words that Joshua Buatsi heard were from his trainer, Virgil Hunter, the man who was behind the career of Andre Ward, one of the great fighters of recent decades. He's the man who's trying to coach Joshua Buatsi to the pinnacle of this sport.
Yep, interesting to see how Buatsi responds to that loss back in February to Callum Smith. He's now teamed up with Frank Warren. First fight under Frank Warren, this for Buatsi. So big moment for him here, really to keep his world title dreams alive. He needs a victory.
First thing you notice when they were standing face to face is how much physically bigger Buatsi is. Zach Parker stands around 6 foot. Buatsi's 6'2" and a big frame to go with it. Short of the target with a left-hand lead, and Parker gets inside, tries to stifle Buatsi. And the question, I think, about this fight, and particularly for Parker, is whether he really has the punch power to trouble the bigger Joshua Buatsi.
That's the million-dollar question. You know, I was speaking to Zach Parker's mother earlier on, and she was telling me these two actually met 10 years ago. That was in the ABAs, and that ended in victory for Joshua Buatsi. A knockout victory. He split the eye of Parker. Parker wanted to continue but wasn't allowed. Now he gets his opportunity. Can he turn it around? It's going to be tough, John.
Well, after the stunning excitement of that last fight, which Lyndon Arthur won on points to win the European light heavyweight title, this one, the main event, is always going to have to go a bit to match that in terms of excitement. Early stages and not a lot's been thrown of note so far. We await to see how it's going to unfold.
Well, Buatsi is a spiteful puncher. 13 of his 19 victories have come inside the distance, and he's the guy that's controlling the space here of the ring. Parker moving around, trying to be a little creative, trying to find a hole, but he can't find it as of yet. There's a big right hand, just misses narrowly there from Joshua Buatsi. Good start this from Buatsi.
Yeah, he's just landing the classier work in here. Parker trying to provide a mobile target, trying to keep himself at range and looking to create the angles to land some little sneak counters such as there. He didn't get through though, turned Buatsi. Buatsi has probably done enough to take this opening round. Last few seconds, it's been a quiet opening round, but Buatsi trying to double up on the left-hand lead. Another scoring punch, goes back to his corner, and the degree-educated, university-educated graduate Joshua Buatsi has thought his way through that first round pretty well.
Yep, he's a very experienced guy, Joshua Buatsi, and he'll be glad to get that first round under his belt. He dominated that one for me, holding centre of the ring. Didn't quite find the range with a jab or the right hand, but he done enough to steal the round. Parker was the guy moving around the perimeter, trying to create some openings, trying to find some openings, but Buatsi's too clever for that. He wasn't taking the bait. He kept himself nice and composed, nice and tight. And what I will say, John, is expect this one to heat up at some point.
Interesting in the corner as ever. Virgil Hunter stays outside the ring and shouts his advice to Joshua Buatsi from distance. So it's going to be interesting to see if our microphone in that corner is actually going to be able to pick up what he's saying. Zach Parker with the slightly more orthodox Paul Mann in his corner, fights out of a gym in Wednesbury. And is he going to be able to produce what is likely to need to be the performance of his career if he's going to win this?
Yep, he's going to need to put in a huge performance here, but this is about opportunity. He had that opportunity back in 2022 against John Ryder. He fell short that night, broke his hand in the process. He's had to rebuild 4 fights, come up to a new weight division in light heavyweight, and this is the acid test for him here. Can he overcome this huge hurdle in Joshua Buatsi, or will Buatsi just be too good?
Tundi Ajay, the trainer, manager associated with our main man who's going to be in the world, in the big show over in Riyadh later in the month, Anthony Yard, he said that in his opinion, Parker didn't hit hard enough.
Yeah, well, that could be a big problem because Joshua Buatsi is a spiteful puncher. Yeah, Anthony Yard goes in against David Benavides, November the 22nd. Massive task in front of him there, Anthony Yard. Will we ever see Yard and Buatsi in the ring together? Well, both guys will need victory. Buatsi's got to do a job here tonight as he lands a good left hook.
Made to miss with the first one as Parker spun him in the corner on the far side, but then did find the target with the left hook, which followed up. That is from Buatsi. Misses with a left-hand lead as Parker, up on his toes, skips away out of the danger zone. And still we await real heavy punching confrontation from these two. And Buatsi is just about managing to outskill Parker at the moment and just pick up enough points. Parker tries to throw a swinging right hook from range, and Buatsi finds it easy to block.
Yeah, Parker being very elusive in there at the moment, moving a lot for a big guy, using a lot of the ring, carrying that left hand low, trying to draw Buatsi in, trying to make him, force him into making a mistake. He's throwing his shots and he's away again, so Buatsi at the moment just struggling to pin Zach Parker down, who's doing a pretty good job.
But likewise, Parker isn't landing anything of note. He gets in with a jab, but it's only a pitter-pat sort of shot. Then tries to throw a right to the body. No great power in that either. And the referee's in there between them as they lean on and clinch, separates them, and the action continues. Good right hand from Parker. Needed a decent shot at some point in that round. Let's go into his corner now, where he's going to be being spoken to by his trainer, Paul Mann, with Zach Parker. Harold Johnson, it is actually who's giving the words from
Good. Yeah. Beautiful round that. You can't keep up with that. You're too sharp round the sides. You're hitting him when he don't expect it. Yeah. So try and touch him round. Wow. Got me? Yeah. Good lad. Breathe. He needs to start from the jab though, yeah? Don't leave it hanging there. It's got to be fast. You've left the chin up twice. Don't do it again. Yeah. Okay? Look for them counters round the side with the backhand. Yeah. Yeah? Deep breaths. Come on. Touching that lovely body shot. Touching up top. Don't switch on.
Well, Spencer, can you interpret the West Midlands accent there?
I certainly can, actually. It was good advice from there. He's saying, look, don't let the left hand dangling there. You've got to throw your shots and come off the side. So what Harold Johnson was saying there was basically, let's start moving off the side, working the angles here. Do not sit in front of Joshua Buatsi, as we know that he's spiteful. He can whack, and you don't want to get too greedy.
Better get it right for Big Errol, hadn't he? He's a bit of a unit as well. He's black country, of course. Let's get that one right.
Well, I hope I've done him proud there. I think I translated that quite well.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. There was a bit of actual demonstration from Errol about how to get your hand back into place. Don't leave it dangling after you've thrown the jab. You're not missing anything, incidentally, while I'm saying that. No real punches landed in the opening minutes of the round.
Yeah, both guys are just looking for each other. There's a bit of a chess match in there at the moment as Parker throws a double jab, misses with a right hand. Buatsi has not found his range yet either.
Buatsi was being heavily favoured as likely to win this one by stoppage. But there's a good body shot from Parker. Gets inside, works in close, and lands a solid right hand. Buatsi beaten to the jab. And Buatsi at times can be frustrating because he appears not to work hard enough. And so far in this contest, this is one of those occasions.
Yep, that's exactly what it is here, John. I think Buatsi there just complaining that the shot was low. It wasn't low, it was on the waistband. So that's a good sign for Zach Parker. But Buatsi maybe being a little guilty here of being a little bit one-paced, one-dimensional. We need to see a little bit more from him here. This light heavyweight division at the moment is on fire, not just in Britain, but globally. And Buatsi has to make a statement.
There's a left-hand, right-hand scoring punches from Parker. Good right hook into the body. Minute to go in this third round. And Buatsi is finding it hard to settle here and really impose himself on this contest. And Parker is right in there, switch hitting, went from southpaw to orthodox and then ducks in low, tries to throw a right hand to the body, and Buatsi's not able to land anything as he does so.
Well, he's not throwing anything, John, that's why he's not landing anything. He's walking forward, it's a single jab, and then he's closing his space, he's getting in too close. You know, he should have that technical ability to be able to take that half a step back so you could create the space to let your hands go, but he's just not doing that. He's overreaching with the jab Buatsi at the moment, and Parker doing a good job of working the angles like L. Johnson was telling him in the corner.
Gets a good right hand there, Parker, and Buatsi, who remembers coming back from that defeat against Callum Smith, is he just looking a little bit tentative? I wonder. Here's Adam and Gareth.
I thought Zach Parker got into a good rhythm there in round number 3. I know he's pot shot him from the outside, but he's in and out nice and quickly. Yes, it's straight lines, but for me, I gave him that round. I actually thought that he started to just get a little bit of success and cause frustration for Josh Buatsi.
I narrowly gave him the second round as well, Adam. We were discussing it while the guys were doing their always extraordinarily brilliant commentary, Spencer Oliver and John Rawling. But there's nothing extraordinary brilliant about Joshua Buatsi yet tonight. No rhythm, no composure, looking to load up, straight lines all the time. And even though we know he's dangerous and he hits heavier than Parker, he's not doing the job at the moment.
His output, isn't it? His output. He needs to do more.
But he does, as John said, he does frustrate at times. And it's one of the things about him. We know how talented he is, but he just needs to relax and get into his groove.
Well, if he has another indifferent round here, we'll have a go at getting into that corner and see if we can get a microphone within hearing zone of Virgil Hunter and hear what he's making of this, because this is very, very uncertain from Buatsi right now, and there's a right into the body from Parker, and as they came out of a clinch, he landed a chopping right hand into the side of Buatsi's head, and then comes charging in. The heads come very close, and the referee has a word with Parker. It was could be construed as dangerous, the way he almost led with his forehead into that close quarters exchange.
Yeah, let me tell you what's happened here, John, here in round number 4, that Zach Parker is growing into it. He's oozing confidence at the moment. The self-belief now is starting to grow, and Joshua Buatsi, dare I say it, is looking very one-dimensional and very ordinary. And he has to do something different here.
Tried to pull Parker down. He misses with a very, very cumbersome-looking overhand right, Buatsi. And Parker up on his toes, centre ring, 4th round of 10. And Joshua Buatsi, who was somewhere between 5-1 on and 6-1 on with the bookies this morning, he is finding all the problems he needs right now. And he needs, oh, that's good from Parker again. Slipped the left-hand lead and gets in with a left hook and the right over the top. And you hear the oohs and the ahs in front of us as I'm speaking, and that's from the Parker corner. It's Big Errol, who's in full voice.
Yeah, absolutely, because he's boxing to instructions, he's working the angles, he's not sitting in the pocket at all, he's moving around, he's getting off first with the shots, lovely right hand in there, and then a laboured, lazy-looking jab coming in from Joshua Buatsi. I need to see more.
Parker said something to him there as well as he spun him around, heads going in close again. Referee's going to have to watch that, because if there's a real big clash of heads as Parker ducks low and then stands up into Buatsi's face, then there could be damage. Right hand again from Parker was a scoring shot, and now Buatsi has him in a headlock, and the referee has to split them, and there's no genuine scoring punch from Buatsi there. 30 seconds to go in the 4th round of our main event field here tonight. Light heavyweight contest between Josh Buatsi, big favourite, and Zach Parker from Swadlincote, near Derby, Derbyshire man, and a proud man, and he's very much in this and maybe about to take the lead in this 4th round, because I think he's won this round as well.
Yep, he certainly won this round as Buatsi comes forward, labours a jab again, misses, and just nothing really, no urgency around Buatsi's work. 2 rounds apiece for me.
Well, I've got it 3-1 to Parker. We go into the blue corner now, where Virgil Hunter, I think, will be speaking a little bit anxiously to Josh Buatsi.
You gotta step it up. You're standing there waiting. Make it a long fight. You got it in you. Okay? Wear you down. Keep working by the job. Put the jail here. Change the rhythm of the jail like you said.
What do you make of that, guy?
So, Virgil Hunter, of course, we know, the great trainer of Andre Ward's, saying you're standing too static, step it up, make variations, and he's right, because he's looking one-dimensional, self-entitled, if you can call a boxer that, and frustration is etched all over his face at the moment. Parker's making it very awkward for him.
Into the 5th round, and Parker, at worst, is level, I think, in a fight that we expected Josh Buatsi to really dominate. Good left hand in close again from Parker as Buatsi telegraphed his left hand lead, and again, yet again, came forward just in the straight lines that Spencer Oliver so despises.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy here who's widely touted as the hottest prospect in British boxing at one point. And let me just say, guys, he's looking a shell of his former self as again Buatsi tries to push forward, but now Parker punching for him blow for blow. Buatsi wrestles him to the floor. The referee has got a tough job to do here to keep this under control.
Says to Parker, come on, get to your feet. Let's not have any play acting. Misses with a left hand, Parker, blocked by Buatsi, who's keeping his gloves up high now. Centre ring, looking for his own opportunity. Throws a left hand lead, left jab, which is usually so ramrod straight and so full of authority, and it's not quite been there so far in this fight. And Parker misses it, makes him miss again. And once more, Buatsi pulls him down, and the referee is having a word with both men, trying to tidy the action.
Yep, he needs to get a grip of this one, but Parker doing a good job here because he's being very elusive, and he's the one that seems to have got into a rhythm, switching from orthodox to southpaw and back again. And Buatsi, dare I say it, walking forward, single jabs, lazy right hands. This is poor from Joshua Buatsi.
And that time he just walked straight into an orthodox left-hand lead from Parker, who switches to southpaw, lands with a right-hand lead, then forward comes Buatsi, is caught with a counter as he comes in close on some very, very audible corner support for Zach Parker. I wonder if that's having any impact on how the judges are seeing this one, because it's already starting to look this as though it's going to be a fight that at very least is going to go long and could very well go to the judges' cards, and a lot of it is really messy.
Yeah, well, none of it's subjective though. I think there's only one person winning these rounds now, and that's the guy that's just landed a lovely left hook on the inside, then slips the body shot in as well. Buatsi looking confused as he holds centre of the ring, not really looking like he knows what to do. We're looking at a former Olympic bronze medalist here back in Rio 2016, and we're seeing none of that ring craft tonight.
Well, it's going to be a talking point if he does lose this, Buatsi, because the big question would be, where on earth does he go from here? Because Zach Parker is doing enough as we reach the halfway stage, not so far off of this contest. He's going to be ahead on my cards, and he may well be ahead on the judges' cards as well, Gareth.
Well, I've got Zach Parker 4 rounds to 1 up because of the work he's done. The second round was close. I said it at the start of the show, we might find out tonight, especially after that Buatsi performance against Callum Smith. He may have peaked, you know, and we might be seeing a guy.
This is what he always does. This is what he always does.
But he should be getting better.
Of course he should.
So in other words, he's peaked. He's got to where he is, and he's not going to get any better.
Well, dare I say it, on performances like this, he's declined. He's not peaked. He's declined. He's declined quite a bit, because that's not the Joshua Buatsi of old, the guy that I knew and once tipped as a future world champion. I was convinced he would win a world title. He's one of the most dangerous light heavyweights in the world. Right now, you look at that, you struggle to put him in the top 5 in the British rankings.
We know he's a big, heavy puncher, and he may go on to hurt Parker, who's clearly not as big a puncher, but he's being outboxed and outmanoeuvred in there, John.
Well, that is the key fact. And forward comes Buatsi now, straight away, with a greater sense of urgency about his work. His ears may be ringing to the words of his trainer, who must have told him, come on, get out there and land some punches, because at the moment, this man is making a bit of a fool of you. There's a right hand from Buatsi, which does get into the jaw of Parker, but no great power. It was only a glancing blow. Parker's up on his toes, lands with a left hand, right hand, tries to follow up with a right hook. It missed, and Buatsi then does get in with a left-hand lead, and again he's moaning to the referee, this time about Parker pulling on with a glove behind his head. I always think if you see fighters starting to groan and moan to refs, it is not a good sign about how it's going.
Trust me, it's not a good sign. Once a fighter's complaining about holding, hitting me behind the head, this is the fight game. If you get away with an elbow, you will. If you get away with a head, you will. It's the referee's job to tell you to, not to do it. So when the fighter's complaining, you know he's not in a happy place. And if he's not in a happy place, that's a dangerous place.
Very subjective, this, but at the halfway stage, I had 4 rounds to 1 to Parker. What about you, Spencer?
Yeah, I have it three rounds to 2, but don't feel guilty about that, John, because you're thinking, this is not according to the script. This shouldn't be this way. A lot of people thought the fight wouldn't even go this distance. Parker's running away with it at the moment.
Parker looks fresher, looks faster, looks committed, looks well prepared. He has a game plan. There's a jab at last from Buatsi, which sent spray off the head of Parker, but there's been so few of them. And again, poor footwork from Buatsi as Parker manoeuvres in around the ring, uses the ring's full periphery and makes Buatsi look a little bit pedestrian and a little bit static and a little bit outthought.
Yeah, it certainly does. You know, Gareth A. Davis asked the question, what would that fast fight have taken out of him? Not just physically, but mentally. And I think we're finding out the answers tonight, because this is not the Buatsi I know.
Parker goes to the floor, but the referee rules no knockdown. He stumbled off balance, and now Parker is back on his toes, trying to maintain the range, misses with a left hook. Buatsi's actually having a better round here, but that's not saying much, because a lot of his performance so far has been pretty woeful. But he may well have taken this round, and he's getting into range and trying to land some big shots in the closing stages of this. And I think that his corner, the Buatsi corner, is going to be a little bit happier about what's happening here. That looked a wee bit better, Spencer. Let's go into that blue corner, can we, and hear what they're saying to Joshua Buatsi.
Josh, you're fouled. Okay, listen, don't walk away with stop. Wait on
I'm afraid I can't make that out, and I think even the radar ears of Gareth are struggling a little bit.
Well, I was lip reading Virgil Hunter there from across the ring, and what he was saying was, listen to me, Joshua Buatsi, we need more of this, we need heavier punches, you're behind him rounds, and you need to take it to him, which he's starting to do, because Zach Parker's worked so hard, Spence. He's starting to fatigue.
Yep, punches in bunches, that's what we need from Buatsi. The singles and the twos are not. But Zach Parker walking back to that corner at the end of the last round, he was starting to build a pace. Could Buatsi get himself back into it?
Yep, maybe so. We can perhaps pay a visit to the Parker corner at the end of this round and hear what they're thinking, because he's not quite as fleet-footed as he was earlier in the fight. Good enough, though, to make Buatsi miss and land with a right-hand counter to the body. But he's just starting to blow a little here, Zach Parker, in this 7th round. I've got him 4-2 up. Buatsi's coming on stronger now, landed a solid left hook there. I think it was taken on the arm of Parker, but he's getting into range, and that's important.
Yeah, he's getting into range, but he needs to let the hands go when he gets there. It's single jabs. He's pouring with that jab. It's really poor stuff with that, leaving his feet behind and just pouring with a jab. I need to see the snap back in the punches as he slams the jab into the face there of Parker. who's doing a good job of moving out the way, but Les coming back. Good right hook to the body there, though, from Parker.
Talking about styles, you know, in that last fight we saw where Lyndon Arthur won the European title, the styles really gelled and blended into a wonderful fight. Good left hand from Parker, caught Buatsi again flat-footed and landed fairly flush. But this fight, I have to say, has been a mess.
Yeah, it certainly has, but I tell you what, Zach Parker is believing in himself in this fight. He's growing on it.
He landed a solid left hand in this round, which is the best punch he's landed for some time. And again, he's starting to make Buatsi look a bit flat-footed and silly. Buatsi gets in with a left to the body, but Parker pushes him back towards the ropes, then comes in with a left hand of his own. And he's fighting out of a southpaw stance now and ties Buatsi up and now walks Buatsi across the ring, and the referee has to split them to try and encourage the action to flow once more. Good right hand from Parker over the top.
Yeah, good counter punch, right uppercut on the inside though from Buatsi. And Parker's just starting to look a little ragged in there now. He's happy to hold on the inside. He's worked a lot. He's been manoeuvring around the perimeter of the ring, and that is maybe taking its toll. Fatigue maybe starting to settle in, but there's no sense of urgency around Buatsi's work. But the shot just went south of the border there. That was definitely low.
Well, is he doing enough to win this fight? I'm not convinced. Parker landing another good right hand into the body, and in a few seconds we'll go into the Parker corner, where Errol Johnson will be trying to give him every lift he can think of to take him into a believing situation and getting him to produce something special in the remaining time in this fight. Errol Johnson now is with Zach Parker.
Deep breaths, come on. Bum shield, bum shield. Deep breaths, legs out. That's it, come on. How you feel? Strong? 3 rounds. I don't want all right, I want fucking good, son. You're good, come on. Come on, Zach. Hey. Imagine what you can fucking win here, son, if you get this one, got me? You're ahead, don't throw it away.
3 fucking rounds, that's it. Too fast,
he's too slow with his feet. Fast jabs off the angle, got me? And walks onto everyone. Yeah. And then the angled shots over the top and get out the door. Breathe.
3 rounds.
Engine.
Big breath.
Hey, get these feet back in the game.
Yeah,
come on then.
Let's go.
I need a big little combination work. And I need little shots
inside. Sorry about some of the language there, but you get the gist. Don't throw it away, you're winning.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what he's got to do. He's got to stick to what he's doing. Here we go. Start of round number 8.
Round 8 of this 10-rounder. Remember, Joshua Buatsi was a shorter price than 5-1 on to win this in a 2-horse race. And Zach Parker has made nonsense of that. And he may well be ahead, as his corner is thinking. Quiet start to this.
Yeah, quite a start to the round here, Buatsi. No sense of urgency, and we need to see that sense of urgency, because like you, John, I think he's got to win these last 3 rounds to win this fight. He could be a round behind, he could be 2 rounds behind, but one thing I'm certain of is he's not in front here, Joshua Buatsi.
And again, Parker makes him miss as he slips under the left-hand lead and pushes Buatsi back across the ring. Lands a couple of body shots, and Buatsi's landed nothing of note in the opening minute of a round, this 8th round, which he really does need to win.
Yep, he needs to make a statement here, and the corner have been trying to G him up, trying to pump him up, and Buatsi again, double jab, laboured jab, feet are slow, out of range, single shots. Parker elusive, messy at times. It's not particularly pretty to watch, but it's effective for Parker.
Buatsi misses once more with the left-hand lead, which is supposedly his big scoring shot. Then a right hand does get into the body. There was one around the back of Parker's head as Parker stumbles to the floor. Referee helps him up. No knockdown, of course. Legal punch from Buatsi.
Yep, just a bit weak on his legs. Parker, he seems to fall to the floor like that. He's done it again there. And the referee might have to have a word here and say, look, hold yourself up, son. It does get physical on the inside, and every time He's doing it, he's collapsed into the floor, nicking a breather, and Joshua Buatsi getting frustrated, and rightly so.
Well, Michael Alexander, the referee, had a word with him as Spencer was saying that and told him, come on, stay on your feet. Buatsi now trying to dominate from the centre of the ring, misses with a left-hand lead. Another one was short, but then he does get in with 1, 2, 3 hooks to the body, left hand and 2 right hands. Parker, who's blowing a bit now with less than 40 seconds to go in this 8th round, just 2 rounds to go after this in our main event here on talkSPORT 2, a main event which frankly hasn't really produced some of the excitement and quality that we've been anticipating. Parker makes Buatsi miss again as he backpedals onto the ropes just in front of where we're commentating.
Yeah, it's not been a particularly good fight to watch, this one. The first 2 we had, Liam Cameron, Troy Jones and Lyndon Arthur. In that last one we saw was sensational.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Spencer, you're absolutely right. I was just looking at Zach Parker walking back to his corner. This is all going to come down to fitness. Can he stay on his bike like he's been for the first, 8 rounds of this particular fight? Because I've got him well ahead at the moment, but it feels like he's starting to slow a touch. And therefore, Joshua Buatsi is starting to... The penny's dropped with him a little bit, and he's starting to whack away to the body to Zach Parker. These next 4 rounds are absolutely massive for Joshua Buatsi's career.
It's only 2 more rounds.
10
There's
rounds.
only 2 more rounds. So I've got them.
He's in trouble then. He's in massive trouble.
I've got them 4 apiece because I think Joshua Buatsi's come back into it in the last 3. But like you say, if Zach Parker can come out and be as elusive as he's been earlier in the fight, and Joshua Buatsi needs to come out and prove that it's his night. But it's a very close fight.
He's in trouble here, Buatsi.
I've got Parker ahead, but not by a lot. 2 rounds to go.
4-4.
And Buatsi certainly, if he's going to make certain of this, at very least has to take the last 2 rounds by points, 10-9, to give himself a chance of getting the judge's decision.
Yeah,
Who'd be a judge for this? Difficult to score.
Well, this is it, John. I've got it 4 apiece as well. You know, Buatsi's pulled himself back into it. But let's be honest, it's been a bit of a bore fest, hasn't it? Not particularly good to watch. Buatsi's laboured, pushing forward. This is about making statements right now at this stage of your career. Buatsi, 32 years of age. Parker, 31 years of age. You can't just get the victories. You have to make the statement. And again, Parker has collapsed to the floor.
Referee keeps talking to him. He has a word with Buatsi about pulling him down, which I think is a little bit harsh, because Parker certainly made the most of that. And he must be on thin ice with the referee taking a point away from him if he keeps throwing himself on the floor. Buatsi and Parker throw jabs simultaneously. Both of them miss. Now Buatsi does get in with a left hand taken well, though, by Parker, who tries to switch to southpaw. Leads with a pawing right-hand lead and makes Buatsi miss with a left hand, a left jab, and then a couple of chopping right hands from Buatsi. Carl Frampton's got it dead level.
Yep, same as us, exactly that. 2-round fight on my scorecard as well. Buatsi is having a better round here again. Referee again got to get in there. Parker falls forward. Buatsi starting to get in range, land the right hand in this round. He's having a better round and one of the best rounds he's had of the contest so far.
Don't know what Michael Alexander's fee is for refereeing this thing, but he's certainly earning it, trying to keep the work going. A couple of jabs from Parker as he circles the ring in a clockwise direction and then ties Buatsi up inside and landed a little clubbing left hand to the body, aims a left hook over the top of the Buatsi guard. Buatsi missed with a left hand counter, and this is a good little spell again for Parker. Lands a right hand into the body. Buatsi makes him miss as he spins and turns. Buatsi being told by the referee, don't turn your back. Good left hand from Parker. Parker's having a better round here in the penultimate round, the 9th round of 10. And you'd have thought that Buatsi was going to be coming on strong here, but it's not happening. Parker up on his toes, skipping away from the attacks of Buatsi, who hasn't got the footwork or the hand speed to put together anything of note.
It's the footwork, John, that's letting him down. He's moving like a snail in there right now. Buatsi is slow, is sluggish, is a you know, poor performance from a guy of these standards. And Parker has nicked this round.
He has.
He's fiddled his way round it.
Yep, and he's got to have a big last round, Buatsi, if he's going to win this one, surely, Spencer.
Well, I've got it all level going into this last round. For me, it's a one-round fight, and do you know what, John? It could quite easily be 4 rounds one way, 4 rounds another way, because some of these rounds have been so close, because neither guy's really landed anything of any significance. Tough one to score, it really is. Who's going to get it? It could all be on this last round for me.
Well, you're the expert, Spencer. You're the guy who's been in there, and you're finding it difficult to split them. I've got Zach Parker ahead in this fight, but, you know, I fully appreciate that it's very subjective, and a lot of the rounds, Gareth, have been very close.
Yeah, they have, but I think Buatsi's done better work as we've come on. He's looked stronger. The body language of Parker lost that round in my book. I got Buatsi 5-4 up going into the last round. Adam's got it 5-4 to Zach Parker.
I've got it Parker narrowly by a couple of rounds or so, and Buatsi, I'm sure he's got to get out there and win this round, and that's what he'll have been told.
Well, I think it sounds like we're all in agreement here. Who wins this round could win the fight, and I think that, you know, someone needs to go out there and they need to grab it by the scruff of the neck. They need to go out there and really take this round with some dominance.
He was looking for a big, impressive performance to impress his Queensbury promoters, Josh Buatsi, and try and move towards a world title shot. Good right-hand uppercut off the ropes from Parker. Buatsi takes it well. He's looking for a big shot. Carl Frampton's got it, Parker by a street. I've got it Parker a little bit more narrowly than he's got it.
Yeah, well, you can understand the scorecard, so I'm saying, John, I can understand your scorecard, and I can also understand Carl Frampton's, who's got it, like you say, by a proverbial mile. He's got him winning virtually every round. And that's what I mean. Look, he's claps to the floor again there, Parker. He's not allowing Buatsi, who's strong on the inside, to get off of his work. But Buatsi here, he needs to throw everything, the kitchen sink, the whole lot.
Yeah, he needs a bit more than the sink. He could do it lobbing the cooker or the Arga or whatever it is, put the whole lot in there, because he needs to try everything that he can. If ever he needs a brilliant last 90 seconds, it is now, because Zach Parker is in sight of a big, big upset.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's moving, switching from orthodox to southpaw, doubles up on the jab there. He's done well, Parker. He's come with a game plan, and he's made it a frustrating night for Joshua Buatsi in there tonight. It really hasn't been a below-par performance from Buatsi.
Any thoughts
but Parker, for me, doing enough in this round to win it.
Any thoughts of Joshua Buatsi dominating this heavyweight division at world level, though, is surely disappearing right here and now. Zach Parker in movement, and some of the angles he's producing is schooling him in a way. Imagine what Bivol would do to him.
Yeah, it's been, like I say, not a world-class performance from Buatsi. Taking nothing away, by the way, from Zach Parker, who come with a game plan. It may not have been pretty, but it's been effective.
Moving into the last 20 seconds. Still just plodding forward, Buatsi, and Parker's up on his toes, staying out of harm's way, and then getting inside, grabbing onto Buatsi, stopping him landing anything of note, stifling his work, and Zach Parker tactically has done a good job. Both men celebrate. Zach Parker really does have the look of a winner in there. He believes that he's taken this one, and Joshua Buatsi looks frustrated and very, very down as he goes back to his corner, because whether or not he gets the verdict, well, that remains to be seen. that certainly Zach Parker has exposed a lot of gaps in the armoury of Josh Buatsi and made him look a long, long way short of elite level.
Yeah, he certainly did. And I think that Zach Parker's done enough to win this one. I've got it 96-95 in favour of Zach Parker, who come with a game plan, and yet that was one of the worst I've seen Joshua Buatsi. I understand he was coming off that tough first defeat against Callum Smith, but we saw nothing there, John, did we?
No.
To suggest that he can mix in world class.
I got Zach there by 7 rounds to 3. So I've got him as an emphatic winner there. Fraser Clark's asking how we've got it. He's looking and he's saying, I've got it Zach Parker by 1. The corner's looking across to us and saying, how have we got it? And we're confirming to them that we think he's won it, and there's no sense of optimism or triumphalism from the opposite, the Buatsi corner.
I wouldn't argue with 5 rounds each.
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue with 6 rounds to 4 to Zach Parker, and I wouldn't argue 6 rounds to 4 to Buatsi. I've got it 6-4 to Buatsi. There were some swing rounds.
Hold on.
I had him coming back in the last 4 rounds of the fight.
Yeah, I think that's a strong argument to say Buatsi. I couldn't give Buatsi. I couldn't see him winning any way that I looked at that, if I'm honest. I think, yeah, he narrowed the gap, but there's only one winner there. I don't know about you, Catman.
For me, I just feel that Zach Parker's not lost. I think there's an argument for 95 apiece. It feels like 96-94 in Zach Parker's favour. That's what it feels like. But it was a mess. It wasn't the most attractive
in terms of dullness, wasn't it?
It was not an attractive fight.
I think, to be fair, you know, it was always in Zach Parker's interests to make it a mess.
Absolutely.
By doing so, he made it his style of fight.
An elite fighter would have been able to figure it out, though, wouldn't they, John?
Oh, yeah,
if Buatsi was up to it, he'd have been able to figure it out. Let's get the official result from MC.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Grzegorz Molenda scores it 95-95, even a draw. And both judges, Salvador Salva and Marcus McDonald, scored the same, 96-94, both for your winner by majority decision. And now the WBA International Light Heavyweight Champion, Joshua Buatsi!
Joshua Buatsi gets it on a majority decision, 96-94, 96-94. And a draw in there as well at 95 apiece. I think Zach Parker can count himself incredibly unlucky, Spencer Oliver.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that at all. I like Joshua Buatsi. I love everything he stands for. I think he's a great.
It's not his fault. It's the judges.
It's not his fault. It's the judges. But for me, there was only one winner there. Zach Parker done enough to win that fight. He fiddled his way through it, guys. Yeah. He done what he had to do. He come with a game plan. That was his game plan. Joshua Buatsi's game plan was to come forward and machine roll him, break him down, and it didn't work. The frustration was kicking in. You could see it round after round. He wasn't landing the shots, and Parker was getting into a rhythm. He was oozing confidence, landing shots from the inside, up, tying him up when he wanted to tie him up. He will feel bitterly disappointed there. I thought he was very unlucky.
Incredibly unlucky. I thought the game plan that he applied for that fight was working for large percentages of it. You could tell by the back end of the fight that he was slowing down, and he was obviously running out of gas a little bit. And Joshua Buatsi did take rounds down the back end, but I can't see where he's picked up 6 rounds there. I really can't.
Nah, no way. I can't see that either, mate. I really can't.
Gareth A. Davies is ringside. Hopefully he's got his headphones on and he can hear me. Let's get that microphone up so we can have a little bit of a conversation with him as he's about to head towards Joshua Buatsi, who is in the ring addressing the crowd.
I'm with Fraser Clark right now.
Over to you, Gareth.
I'm with Fraser Clark. Fraser, a very strange, odd fight. You came and looked at our desk and said, well, how did you guys have it?
I was just wanting to ask everyone around me, because I had it even. But it was a scrappy one, do you know what I mean? Here's the man himself, now I say. Oh, yeah.
Zach, disappointed with that result, Zach?
I was outboxing him easy. He couldn't even catch me shots. There's all little skimmers, couldn't catch me. Everyone around the ringside just said that I won that. All the front ones lot just said I won that.
You're going to appeal that decision?
Well, what can you do? Because we always get the bag side of it anyway. I've come up from the bottom. I was from a small show. I did it in all the amateurs, beat all the GB squad, and then I still didn't get picked down. And it's the same with today.
It should be your night tonight, yeah?
I thought everyone said it. It's a joke. Cheers, though. Thank you.
Zach Parker there, guys. Back to you. I'll continue my walk around the ring, and I'll find Buatsi in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, for those that are just tuning in and joining us on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, the official result, is a majority decision victory in favour of Joshua Buatsi. I think the majority of people in here that are actually still here, because people were walking out during that main event, feel obviously that Zach Parker was very, very hard done by. We're going to go back to Gareth Davies, because I think, is he with Fraser Clark? He's with Fraser Clark.
I am. Fraser Clark still here. He's talking to Zach Parker's cornerman. We heard from Zach there, very unhappy about it, but you thought it was a strange performance from Joshua Buatsi tonight, Fraser.
I just think Josh is my good friend, you know, and Zach's my friend as well. Zach's a local lad to me. So I think he boxed out of his skin. I think he had a game plan. He made it really awkward for Josh. I don't think Josh adapted well at all tonight. You know, we know he's in a tough fight last time with Callum Smith. As that knocked a little bit out of him, I'm not sure. I know Zach was on the back foot and making it really awkward and difficult for Josh to land anything clean. But I need to watch it again, because it was, you know, like...
What, you could actually sit through that again, yeah?
No, well, if I wanted to score it, but you see, like, the way that Zach was like on the floor a few times, Josh didn't land too much clean. It was a lot of like clubbing shots. So they are always difficult to score, do you know what I'm saying? But then, after the judges gone for the fact that Josh was on the front foot, Zach was on the back foot, like, I don't know how it's been broken down. You know, when you're in here, you're in the moment, aren't you?
Virgil Hunter was telling him that he was being too static, too samey. He needs to switch it up and create more variety.
I agree. I just don't think nothing changed throughout the fight. Do you know what I'm saying? I think he needs to adapt and change a little bit. It wasn't a great watch. Now will not go down as a classic. We go again.
Make sure you don't do that against Jamie TKV when you finally appear.
When do you ever see me like that, mate? I'm all fucking action, let me tell you that.
There we go. He's all effing action. Back to you.
Don't annoy the big man. He's got a fight coming up in a couple of weeks against Jamie TKV. Apologies for the language there, in case you were affected by that. Fraser Clark catching up with Gareth Davies. But you can feel the disgruntlement in Zach Parker when he was talking to Gareth a moment or two ago. The lad puts in the work. He's put in the graft. He's danced to the game plan that he has been given by his team. And once again, he comes out on the other end of a decision that really hinders his career.
I tell you what, it's a valid question. Where on earth do you put Buatsi from here? Because he was awful tonight, and irrespective of whether or not he got the verdict, which he obviously did, you know, I mean, how do you put him in against somebody like Anthony Yard, for instance?
Well, if you're Lyndon Arthur, are you shouting for the Buatsi fight after his performance?
Well, Lyndon Arthur would fancy knocking him out.
Well, that's the fight that lands next. You're going to get Lyndon Arthur versus Joshua Buatsi, because on that performance, you can't put Buatsi in against the winner of Yard versus Benavidez for sure.
Yeah. Let's get a word from Virgil Hunter, shall we? Gareth Davies is there.
And let's give it a bigger intro now. I'm with the legendary Virgil Hunter here, ringside at the Carp Live Arena. We were very frustrated with Joshua Buatsi's performance on our desk tonight. I know Zach made it difficult, but you were urging him to do things in there, Virgil, tonight. Was he listening to instructions?
I think he tried to follow instructions the best that he could. When you got a guy that's going to grab, flop, and fall, every fight's not going to be a pretty fight. I know in the minds of people, and the minds of the media and everything, it should have been an easy fight, right? But you got a guy that came in to try to steal the fight. And I'm not putting down the referee, but he should have took a couple of points from me for that, because it was intentional. It was intentional. So, but what I'm happy about is Josh won the fight with his left hand. He won the fight with his left hand. And what can you say? A win is a win. Of course I'm disappointed, but in my eyes, I see things the way I see it. I'm not seeing it the way he sees it. So I just kept urging him, just win the fight. Just win the fight. So we're going right back to the drawing board. I'm sure there are going to be critics talking about this fight and everything, but that comes with the territory. So he's got to live with that.
4 years you've been together. I think 2021 you got together. I know he's very happy with you. He always talks about the business of boxing that he does with you. You're like the headmaster, we've always called you, and you know the game inside out. Should he be fighting guys with a different style? Should he be in with Anthony Yard? That fight with Callum Smith was brilliantly exciting back in February. Do you need to put him in with the better BFs, the Bivals, the guys that are going to stand there and fight him?
Well, that's the best Joshua Buatsi when somebody's going to stand there and fight him. Anybody that's moving and stuff like that, he has to learn how to cut the ring off, but it's an experience. So I like the Bivol fight. Somebody's going to come to him and not run. I like the Benavidez fight, a dog that's going to come to him. Like the Yard fight, a tough fight, a strong guy. Anything can go. And I think styles do make fights. We've seen some of the greatest look bad and have early on, and people write them off, and then they step up the next fight and show what they're made of. So the main thing is he got the win. He'll go over in his mind what he did, made the mistakes that he made. And I think the mistakes was he wasn't moving his feet in quick enough. Correct. But when he would get there, he would get grabbed. So it was a frustrating fight, but you got to win frustrating fights, and you got to win fights that are easy.
We're going to try and get a word with Joshua. It's great to see you healthy and happy here at ringside.
Thank you. How's married life?
That's the great Virgil Hunter just catching up with Gareth A. Davies with I love a little bit of a personal ending to the conversation. Also, we'll get to hear from Joshua Buatsi because, as John Rowling just highlighted there, yes, it's a victory and he's got the spoils this evening and that'll be the headline, and when we look back on the career, it'll just say win next to him tonight. But there wasn't that it factor that we needed to see, Spence. It just wasn't there.
No, absolutely. It's going to raise a massive question mark on what did Callum Smith fight take out of him. It was tough, it was grueling, and, you know, it's all about, you know, how they rebound from their first loss. You know, how does it mould them as a fighter? Does it affect them psychologically? Does it affect them physically? Well, on that performance, you go, well, Joshua seems to have lost a little bit of ground there.
I'm just going to interrupt you, Spence, because Gareth is walking back towards Joshua Buatsi's dressing room with Joshua Buatsi.
I am indeed with Joshua. We're just walking back to the dressing room. There's another fight. He's getting some pictures with fans. Yeah. Are you frustrated with that tonight? It seemed like a really difficult fight you had to put there.
Gareth, of course, there's a type of result that you want. There's a type of performance that you want, sorry. But the style he had didn't allow it. But I said to my team, as soon as I got to the corner, Gareth, I said I won the fight anyway. But of course, there's a way you want to win. I said, Gareth, you can't be on the floor about 6-7 times and claim you won the 10-rounder.
Virgil's saying he wants you in against Anthony Yard, Benavidez, Beterbiev, because those are the fights that'll bring out the best in you.
Yeah, it is. It is, you know, they wouldn't come and keep falling on the ground, you know, we'll fight and we'll have a good fight.
Congratulations on your victory tonight. It's always great to see you. Thank you.
Gareth A. Davies just catching up briefly there with Joshua Buatsi as he's heading back to his dressing room. There is a little bit of truth in what was said there from Virgil Hunter. There is a particular style which does then lend to an attractive fight for Joshua Buatsi. We saw it with Callum Smith, but he was beaten that night by a very, very capable guy. Are we saying that Beterbiev, Bivol, Yard are not capable in those exchanges? They absolutely are. Joshua Buatsi has to show the progression in those styles and cater for other styles, Spence, if he's going to get to the top of the tree.
That, man, they call that world class. If you can't adapt, if you can't adjust, you can't go, oh, and there's a certain sort of style that will suit me and make me look good. You go, well, what about all the other styles? You know, world champions, class acts, they adapt, they can deal with guys that come forward, go backwards, go sideways, whatever you want, spinning circles. You have to adapt and adjust to it. You can't be a one-trick pony because that will only take you so far. You know, so you can't just say, oh, let the guy come in front of you, because Callum Smith done that and he come up short. You know, so if you're talking about the names that have been mentioned there that he can stand there and have a fight with, you don't have a tear up with Beterbiev. You can't stand there with that guy. He's a monster. You're going to get torn to pieces. You know, you can't stand there with someone like Benavidez who's going to hit you like 20 shots up and down. You know, so you've got to look at it and go, no, there's parts of it was not a great performance tonight. You can't accuse Parker because he was falling on the floor that he shouldn't have got the fight. You go, that was, it was just a messy fight. He was collapsing. Yeah, they might have been guilty for doing that, but you can't say that doesn't win him the fight.
Let's get the opinion of another British light heavyweight, shall we? Ezra Taylor is currently with Gareth A. Davies.
I am indeed with Ezra, the cannon Taylor, who's fresh off victory last week. We were divided on the desk. I had it for Joshua Buatsi. We could have argued a draw. A couple of the guys had it for Zach Parker. How did you have it?
I had it for Zach Parker, It was a bit of an ugly fight. It wasn't entertaining, it wasn't good. But Zach Parker, I feel like he done enough to win. I think he won the cleaner shots throughout the fight. And yeah, he won in my eyes, but I guess Buatsi got the decision from the judges.
It was a very frustrating fight to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, very, very much so. And knowing what Joshua Buatsi is and what he can box like and what we've seen of him with Callum Smith, it was a bit of a underwhelming performance, I believe. And I don't think I've seen Zach Parker fight like that either. So yeah, it's a bit surprising.
You and I were chatting about you going in with Ben Whittaker very soon. It's a fight you want. Would you fancy Joshua Buatsi in a fight? Because you're the type of fighter that will produce a thrilling contest with you and him, in my view. Is he on your radar?
I appreciate it, man. Every single one of these guys who fought tonight are on my radar. All the winners, the losers not so much, but the winners for sure. They've got titles. That's what I want. I want titles. And these guys are here for the taking, man. We're all with the same table as well, so I can't see why we can't get it on.
All right, tic-tac-toe, 1, 2, 3. Lyndon Arthur, Joshua Buatsi or Liam Cameron. Give me in which order you want them and when.
I want Lyndon Arthur because he's got the European. I like Joshua Buatsi because he's got a nice WBA international. And Liam Cameron, I'll take him for a British defence. No offence to Liam Cameron.
And you knock them all out?
I stop all of them. I damage every single one of them for sure.
All quickly as well, yeah? All within 5 rounds?
Ooh, damn. I'd say within 8.
I've never known you lost for words.
Nah, do you know what? I'm a polished fighter now, I'm a bit of a different fighter. I'm seasoned. A seasoned professional goes out and gets the job done later on because I make sure I cook my opponents, you know what I'm saying? Before I get into eating.
Ezra, timing in sport and timing in life and timing in the ring is so important. But what a time to be in the light heavyweight division right now.
Ooh, it's amazing, man. Trust me, I thank God that I'm here because a few years back it was probably a bit too hot to handle for certain people. And right now it's nice. People are coming over the hill. People are coming up the hill. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, accelerations is good right now. And I'm in the mix. I'm here.
You're on that hill waiting to knock them out inside 8. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Gareth A. Davies. We Ezra Taylor there, who, like myself, scored the fight in favour of Zach Parker. But the 3 judges ringside did not see that. I'm surprised that not even one of them saw it in his favour. We got a 95 apiece and 96-94 in favour of Joshua Buatsi. I'm just watching him do his interview with DAZN, the TV channel broadcasting this evening. You can see it all over his face, the disappointment that the kid is feeling right now.
Absolutely, and he should feel disappointed because I thought he won the fight. I thought he'd done enough to win it. Yeah, I think the Buatsi clawed his way back into the fight. But he didn't do enough to win it, not in my eyes anyway, and you can't say because Parker was falling to the floor then he shouldn't win the fight because he's falling to the floor. It was that sort of fight, it was messy. Parker come with a game plan, he was moving around a lot. Buatsi was labouring with the jab and getting inside, leaning on his back, and he was collapsing to the floor. It's just, it's the way it goes, but he'll be bitterly disappointed from that, Zach Parker. For me, anyway, look, Buatsi gets the victory, he kicks on, but Parker will be very sad for that.
All eyes on Anthony Yard now, gentlemen. He's got the big showdown with David Benavidez coming up a little bit later on this month. John, it's a tough task that, isn't it? Benavidez is the real deal.
It is a huge task. If Anthony Yards pulls that off, he deserves the greatest praise and credit. I mean, the odds are going to be massively against him because, as you say, Benavidez is special. You've got the top 2, Terviev, Bivol, and then Benavidez after that. If Yard can gate crash that top 3, that would be some performance.
Absolutely, and as we've heard from Callum Smith tonight, he's planning on being back in January of 2026 against David Morrell, another top fight to look forward to. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your company. Gareth, thank you very much for your company as well, whatever you... Oh, he's still ringside, chatting away to the who's who of the boxing fraternity. Thank you very much, more importantly, to your company as well. Thank you very much for joining us tonight here at the Co-op Arena in Manchester. We had a fantastic co-main event. Let's not finish on the sour notes of maybe the results and the technicalities of the fight. The main event between Buatsi and Parker. Brad Ray and Lyndon Arthur absolutely dished up an absolute treat for us in the light heavyweight division. Fantastic European title fight. We've got a new European champion in Lyndon Arthur. Congratulations to him. The jury will still be out on Joshua Buatsi. I've no doubt the guys will be picking the bones out of that throughout the course of the week on talkSPORT. Make sure you're tuning in to the Breakfast Show and to Simon and Jim on Monday morning, where they review everything there. And obviously Spencer will be with Simon on the Talk Boxing Show as well. Go and get yourself stuck into it. Subscribe to the Talk Boxing YouTube channel, and of course we will catch you next week for more debate. Thank you very much from Manchester. We'll catch you next time.
Ultimate Sports Radio.
What a moment! This is talkSPORT 2.